Yo, what's up? This is episode what,
Mhm.
Marco? What is this? 3, 4? I don't know.
Like it'd be like three, I think. Maybe three.
Maybe 3. Okay. So welcome to the Dope Conversations podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Cardo. With me is my co-host Marco, and today we have 2 special guests. Ladies, you want to introduce yourselves?
How you guys doing? I'm Dimples. I'm living in Atlanta.
Claire from Atlanta, Georgia, born and raised.
Marco, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Marco from Hampton, Virginia.
Okay. So we got some interesting topics on today's docket, y'all. So we're going to be talking about dating. We're going to be talking about the gender war, or if there's a gender war, we're going to talk about that. And our other topic was the rise of Black male voices. We're going to start off with dating, then we're going to talk about the gender war, and we're going to talk about the rise of Black male voices. Just a little background. Is everybody here single?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Probably for the audience, I should say this is almost a special kind of podcast. Me and Marco are best friends, and Dimples and Claire are best friends. So this is gonna be an interesting take. I'm curious to see if like perspectives like kind of align and if people are more or less in agreement on stuff. So I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to make for an interesting conversation. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell for further updates. If you're on Instagram, go ahead and follow us. But without further ado, we're going to get started. How's that sound?
Let's go for it.
All right. So just a general broad question for everybody. What is the current state of dating? We'll go ladies first. Claire, what's the current state of dating?
I don't really know. Dating in Atlanta right now isn't the best. It seems like there's slim pickings. That's pretty much all I got right now. Yeah, it's not that great. I'll say that much.
Okay.
Not that great.
You specified it to Atlanta. Do you think that it's like a nationwide thing?
So I think it's a nationwide thing, but I also think it's an Atlanta thing too, only because we're all saying the exact same things, and even people that are moving from different states that are coming here are in agreement with the people that have been here the whole time. So just in case we were thinking it was us, it's like, yeah, clearly maybe it's not. Because everyone is saying dating in Atlanta is pretty trash.
You know, I'm surprised. I didn't think that I would be like hung up so quick on a question because we got a lot of questions, y'all. But okay, so what makes dating in Atlanta especially trash, as you would say?
I think it may be possibly the caliber of people, of guys that are here. You have a lot of them here that the first thing that comes out of their mouth is the ratio of men to women. That seems to be something that, I don't know if it's a pickup line, but it's not a good one. So they're using that, and when you come to women and say that, that's not going to make us want to talk to you. It's actually going to make us run, because if you're not coming trying to actually talk to us, but you're trying to tell us, like, that's basically almost like a scare tactic where if you don't talk to me, like, I can go elsewhere. That's probably not a way to pick up women.
Okay, so you think guys are using it as a scare
tactic? Oh,
tactic?
Definitely. Absolutely.
That's interesting.
Let me ask you this. Have you ever said that? Have you ever brought that to a woman's attention?
No, but because you want to know why I've never done that? Because
Marco?
It's not true. It's not true.
What's not true?
I think women use it. Actually, I think the ratio is not true. What do you think the ratio is? We talked about this on our last podcast.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't say I know for sure.
What
I don't want to get an exact number.
I personally hear a lot of numbers fly around. Sometimes It's like 4-1, 7-1, 3-1. Those are pretty much the numbers that I hear. But that's just what they are. A lot of them will say is, well, you guys outnumber us 6-1. So, whatever.
Oh, so you
you know.
hear the same thing as like and men use it as like a threat almost, or like a
It's kind of
scare
like
tactic?
a scare tactic. I wouldn't say threat, but definitely like a scare tactic. Like, you know, whoever's coming to approach you, whoever's trying to date you, like you may as well give them a chance because, women outnumber us, so we can go out and get anybody we want, da da da. So just take this as like, just take it. You know what I mean? Like it's rare that you'll have another guy come up to you, or it's kind of a scare tactic here. At least that's kind of like been my experience. Sometimes I won't say all the time that you know it's kind of like a put down, you know what I mean, a lot of the
Mm,
times. So like when instead of like pickup lines, it's like, let me kind of pick you apart, or pick apart women, or pick apart Black women. That's kind of like a lot of what I hear
okay,
nowadays.
we're gonna get into that, but let me okay.
What is the ratio? Do you know?
Yeah, man, I know. We talked about it
Oh,
on the
Ricardo,
last.
how do you know? You said you never say it. Wow.
No, because I don't, because I've done, we talked about this. I wanted to talk about because, and the reason, see, the way y'all are talking about the ratio and y'all say that men use it as scare tactic, I hear it, when I hear this ratio stuff, I mostly hear it coming from women, not men. And when I hear women say it, to me, they say it as they use it's almost like as a crutch to say, well, the reason XYZ is because the ratio is bad. Women, I feel like a lot of women use it as a crutch to say, well, the reason I'm not in a relationship is because the ratio, there's a ratio. So I hear it in reverse, and I never use it because to me it doesn't like, I don't feel like I get kudos. I would get kudos saying that ratio. I don't, I don't want to threaten nobody to want to be with me or try to use some stats. I want to be the best option. So I wouldn't do that even if it were true. But let me
Yeah.
ask you from y'all's experience, or just from what y'all think. I want both from what you think and your experience. What do y'all think the ratio is? Do you think there's like this huge ratio?
I honestly don't. I don't think it's almost as if the guys that say it, I guess they think about it. I'm not thinking about that. I mean, like, it just kind of is what it is. I wouldn't have known the first time I've ever heard that was a guy saying it. I never knew the ratio of men and women. That's just not something I think about. But could explain a few things now. But yeah, but I never thought about it like that.
Yeah,
Well,
I agree.
I know y'all
That
never
was definitely
go ahead.
that was definitely I've only heard it come from men. I've never personally heard it come from women. That's not something we talk about around the table. Like we outnumber them. Like, and we can't get a man because like
Man,
I've never heard that
y'all
before
might
from
be
another
like, y'all
woman.
might be the exceptions to the rules, because I definitely feel like in Atlanta that's a talking point of women. Y'all might be the exception to
But
the
it's a
rule.
talking point because men always bring it to our attention.
If you really think about it, why would we say it more than you guys? It's to you guys, it seems like it's bragging rights. Like, well, I can kind of get whatever I want. So, why would we say, well, we
Not
can't
at
get
all.
anybody because of the ratio? We wouldn't say that.
No,
Oh,
the
I mean, y'all would say that more than
right. Women would say it because they want an excuse for why they're not with anyone, or why they're not trying to be with anyone. They would say, well, why even try? It's a 20-to-1 ratio. And what made me really curious about this is when I first came here to Atlanta, I would hear that all the time. And I was like, this is not true. Because whenever I go out, I look around and I see men and I see women, and it almost appears like it's an almost even ratio. But then I did the research. This is like by CDC. So the real actual ratio is for every 84 men, for every 84 single men, there are 100 single women. So it's really like if you go to a place, 10 men, 10 women, one woman's going to leave single. Everybody, you know what I mean? So it's not this huge, it's not 2-to-1. It's not 1-to-3. It's not none of that. It's a 9-to-10 ratio. So it's like if men say that, it's just quantifiably not true.
I'm glad you told me that. I'm going to let them know.
Me too.
I'm pretty sure I'm going to hear it again.
Knowledge is power.
It sure is.
Right. So Claire, the state of dating is trash in Atlanta, but you also think that overall it's kind of trash. And you said the quality of men, man. Okay, we're gonna go back to that, but we got to get everybody else's opinions on it. Dimples, what's the state of dating?
Yeah, I can pretty much just speak for Atlanta right now.
Mhm.
But it could be something that's growing in other places in other states. But I especially think that the state of dating is bad right now because just kind of like what our society has, I don't even want to say grown to be, but become over time. Um, what we value now has changed. You know, we had reality TV shows and stuff come here, so people kind of want to be on the scene. They want to, you know, everyone kind of thinks that they're a star. They kind of have that mentality of like, this is what I ought to have, kind of for show, for TV, for likes, for social media. Social media is also a problem, I feel, when it comes to dating, because it's setting up unrealistic expectations, like as far as what people think they should have, and that's both men and women, versus like what they are prone to getting, you know what I mean? Or what is available to them in their surroundings or in their environment. I think that we're like, I come from a small town in Florida where there wasn't going to the club. It wasn't social media. This was also 10 years ago, 10 plus years ago. So I think time also has a part in that as well, right? So it's a small town. So the values are family, it's, friends, it's going to games together, kind of doing more wholesome stuff. Versus I come to Atlanta, the scene is strip clubs, it's going to clubs, it's lounges, it's smoking, it's hookah. And those are a lot of just kind of single activities for the most part. So that's more so glorified here, in my opinion, than, having a family. They'll say like, I've heard a saying, a guy said like a married man coming to Atlanta is like basically death to his marriage. You know what I mean? Like why would any wife want to move her husband to Atlanta? Because men outnumber women, because of the way women look and kind of the lifestyle here. So I think like any city, where there's just a bunch of people and there's this huge nightlife, this scene, I think there's going to be a problem when it comes to dating and relationships because of the values. People don't want to stay home and build their family. They want to be out in the streets stunting, So I think that's kind of that's the life here.
Right. So you see the atmosphere, like, Atlanta being a party city as a detriment to dating, and you even went further and said like marriage and kind of family life.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you have a point there. I think you have a point there. But I don't know if I think it can be a detriment, but I think the elements of like small towns, I think they exist here in Atlanta too. Like, like if you're a person who's like family oriented, there's family oriented tasks you can do here in Atlanta, even though it's still a party city. You're just adding that party city element here. But I think the other things still exist, like the family activities, movies, skating, it's all here. But you have another element that's here as well.
And it's also what's glorified. Like anytime, like I'll have my family, my friends from North Carolina, from Virginia, from Florida, from California. Like when I come to Atlanta, you're gonna show me around. Like I want to go to the strip club. I want, like, what are we known for? You know what I mean? Like, that's what's more glorified than anything else. So it's not come here to settle down. It's come here and stack up. Come here and get, a part of this life where you can see these girls, these peaches, what is it, Georgia peaches or whatever the case is, like, like that's what they want to see. And they're not coming here to do like family activities for the most part, but you can get that for sure, just like you can get it anywhere. But what's glorified, like what do you hear, like what is it known for?
I got you.
That's kind of like, and I live in the heart of the city, so
I got
yeah.
you. Marco, state of dating.
For me, it seemed like it's going to that online dating trend.
Right. And for context, you're you're kind of newly single,
Yeah,
and you're in Virginia.
I'm in Virginia too.
Okay.
So yeah, basically like I think Atlanta would be more easier to meet people
As a man or as a woman?
as
Oh,
both.
just as a person. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, as a person, I think it'd be easier because it's like so much more stuff you can get into. Like here in Virginia, it seems like everything's like slowed down and slow paced. So it's kind of you almost have to be on online dating in order to like I guess be out because we don't really have like a lot of clubs and stuff like that like open and I don't yeah. What you think?
No, man, I'm from Virginia. I Atlanta's like Virginia, but it's more like scaled up because there's like lounges in Virginia. There's all that stuff there in Virginia, but you were kind of talking about a lot like separate things because you talk about like you can't really like. Do you really want to meet somebody at a club? Like you kind of threw that in there, but I'm more or less saying that online dating is going to exist everywhere.
Right.
And people are online dating even here in Atlanta. People are online dating in Virginia, so it's happening everywhere. I think the same kind of environment exists in terms of a similar environment exists. I would say I think it's more similar, except for it's like what Dimples was saying. Here's a little bit more of a party atmosphere, party
Right.
city.
Right.
Yeah, I think I think there are more opportunities to meet and engage with people here than in your context in Virginia.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, but what is overall? What's the you said like dating? I mean, the state of dating is like it's moving online. But
Right.
what do you think about the state of dating? Like, what do you have what do you think about it? Is it
It's rough, man.
it's rough?
Especially like dealing with online dating and stuff like that. It's just
Okay,
like so. It's
why is it rough?
I don't know what to say. It's rough. I guess it's like it gets tiresome after a while. Like just it's so many like options, kind of like you have way too many options.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like it's like if I find somebody, is this person the right person that I'm picking? That's from online dating.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So you feel like dating is rough because online dating is ruining dating?
Right. I guess it's making it too easy. Too
But
easy.
how's making it too easy making it? I'm the man. You on a hot seat, man. I'm
right.
I feel him though. I feel what he's saying.
Yep.
He's not saying anything. He just said it
like,
makes it's easy.
It's like too many people. You can literally just swipe left and swipe right and just do it all night and just have like multiple people talking to you. So it can be exhausting.
Right.
If you've been on online dating, you'll stay on it for a while. Then you'll just basically just get rid of your account and come back because it's too much. It's overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
I always use this example. Like, have you ever gone into a store and you had in mind what you were looking for, whether it's clothing or shoes or whatever the case is? And there's this huge array of options to the point where you get overwhelmed and you just like, you'll look and it's just like, it's too much stuff. I feel like I'll miss something. And you just kind of turn around and you walk out the store without even buying anything a lot of the times because it's too many options. But, it's at the same time too, it's about quality over quantity, right? So there's this huge quantity of people that you have access to that you wouldn't have access to because maybe of the places that you choose to go is limited, or you may just go to the same gym, of course your job, and the same grocery store, so of course you're not going to meet everybody in the city that you're in. And now you have this app where you have access to all these people, but there is that overwhelming factor, and it's just like you said, like, how do I know I'm choosing the right person? And you could be depending on how you're doing it, you could be talking to or communicating with a bunch of people, and because there's so many people, all the conversations are surface level, right? So you're still missing something. You're not getting anything from it, which is going to make you continue to swipe or just throw the whole app away, and just like, okay, let me just delete this from my phone. It's too much. I'd rather just meet somebody the old fashioned way, and then you just continue that cycle over and over again. That's kind of been my experience. Dating apps, like, it's almost kind of like a trick, you know what I mean? And some people utilize it the right way. I just haven't figured out how to, I guess.
I hear what y'all are saying, but I think it's some nuance that needs to be added to it, because I don't think that having options is a good thing. I think the thing is that the options we have, we don't want, because you mentioned something like quality and quantity. Like, is having a lot of options is a great thing, but if you don't want those options, then it's not a great thing.
Is it really though? To have
if they're options that you really want, it's a great thing. But if they're options you don't want, then it's a bad thing.
So how is it a good thing? Even if it's the options you want, how is that good to have all of those options? You're gonna have to narrow it down eventually, right?
Right. Well, you go in intentional, and you go in and you know, like, if you have a lot of good options, you just narrow it down to the best option that you have.
How long would that take?
It depends on the person.
How many options do you have?
Do I have?
No, not personally. I'm just saying, like, it's an actual app. How many options do you have, and how long would it take you to narrow all that down?
Okay, I have, when my experience with online dating, for context, and maybe we should do this. I'm not on online dating anymore. I'm not on online. When I was online, I have a lot of options.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not to say that they're good options. Who's online? Are y'all all online dating? Are y'all all online?
Yes, I'm online. Yeah.
What about yeah.
Okay.
I've been
on it.
I'm on and off.
Okay. So this is a conundrum here, because I'm the one that's saying that there are too many options, but they're just options that we don't want, and I'm not on it. Y'all are saying there are too many options, it's overwhelming, but y'all are still on it. So it's like, it's you see what I'm saying?
I've been on it. I'm on it on and off. It's kind of been like a cycle of on and off. But my thing is, okay, you know, your point to, there are a lot of options, and you know, out of let's say out of 100 people, you know, there could be 30 that you could give a chance, right? I feel like too many options, it's just like you just never settle down. Like, it's just you'll never get to the point where, you know, like, okay, I need to filter through all of these. How long is it going to take you to go out and date with 30 people? Exactly. And if you keep swiping, there's still going to be more people that you can add on to that. But who's going to actually like settle down? That's the tricky part. Like, nobody's actually settling down because they have so many options. So not saying that online dating is a bad thing because of your options. I'm just expressing like it's overwhelming, but it's just like a trick because you have so many options. It's like, just like you said, like, how do you know that you're choosing or you're picking right when there are at least 30 people that I could have potential with, right? So it's kind of like a trick a little bit.
Okay, she said, let's just say what she said. She said 30 options. You have 30 great options. Okay. Mm-hmm. How are you going to narrow that down? If one falls off, you have 30. If one falls off, you're like, yeah, this one isn't good. You mean to tell me you're not going to add another one on just because you can? Or are you just going to say, okay, that's 29. Okay, now it's 28. No, you're going to start reaching back. It's going to continue to be 30, and you're never going to pick anybody. You're gonna just run through all of those options. You're gonna it's gonna be a continuous cycle. You're gonna keep doing it. Come on.
No, maybe I'm different, because I think once you have 30 options, then you start as a man, it's a little more tricky and it's a little more difficult, because at least if you're old school, like, a lot of the impetus is on you to pay for like initial, like the first dates. So if you're a man with a lot of options, it's like that it can get overwhelming, because you're like, let's just say we used 30 was a number. How do I filter through these 30 people? And, you know, I'm just a believer that the cream will rise to the top. And I do think there are a lot of options, but I do agree that there are too many options. But that's the reason why I got off online, because I'm like, it's like, I don't want to have to go through that whole process of trying to filter through. I just want to kind of live my life, be the best version of myself, and hopefully the cream will rise to the top somewhere in there. And then, but if the right for me, once I find an option, I'm not going to like the option that I think is suitable. I'm not going to keep looking for other options or testing that one option against the other option because I know what I want. I think a lot of it has to come down to knowing what you want. And then once you're like definitive and clear on what you want, it becomes easier. And then once you have an option in front of you that you know is suitable, then you, as a person, you just need to choose the option just because there might be other options out there that may be the same in quality, but what are you doing? Like, what's the goal here? What's the aim here? I think we need to have an agenda. Like, this is what I want. And then when you find what it is you want, land the plane. Like, there's no need to keep kind of, what's the goal here? I think it kind of goes to like intent and purpose. I think everybody has different goals when they're doing an online dating thing. Like some people are up there just trying to have sex. Some people are just trying to like date a lot of people. Some people are trying to get married. I think everybody has to kind of figure out what their gel is, what their vibe is, what they're trying to do. And that makes it easier in just getting that clarity. I think we need clarity.
I agree. You definitely need a strategy when you go into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what makes it harder because you have to sit through and find out the same, the saying of like you have to meet the secretary first. How long it's a dating app. You have all these different people. So you have to literally sift out all the ones that are just there for hookups. The ones that, I just recently got a relationship. I'm really just looking for like some type of rebound. You have to sift through all of that. It's a lot. It is a lot.
Like it's time consuming. That's what
it is. Definitely.
Okay, so what's the solutions?
Delete it.
Solutions to me, I feel like people need to be honest.
Okay.
I feel like people definitely need to be honest about what they want. And, that should be in their bio. Like what I started doing.
What's your individual solution?
I feel like you need to go in there with a strategy. If you find someone that you like initially, you like what their bio is saying, the conversation initially is good. I feel like you need to stop with your swiping, and go out on a date, either FaceTime, do what you got to do. And then, if there's a connection, cool, keep going. And if there's not, then, let the person know, like, I really don't see this going anywhere or whatever. And then you get back to it. But I feel like having too many options is just you're going to end up getting discouraged. You're going to end up having numbers in your phone, forgetting who people are. Like, it's just, it's just going to be an ongoing cycle. So go in there with a plan, an idea, find whoever, that you like, and figure out if you guys connect. And then if you do, cool. And if you don't, keep it moving.
So that's your strategy?
That would be my strategy.
Marco, you said yours is delete.
No, I was just joking. But what you mean my strategy for it? Like online dating?
Like you said, like we're talking about the state of dating. And y'all, and let me tell y'all, man, I have 2 pages full of stuff I want to get to, and we're on point 1 right now. So we're definitely gonna have to do like a part 2. And I don't know if we're gonna make it through all the different talking points. But yeah, what's your strategy for what's your strategy? Because you say online dating is trash, and the state of dating is trash. But what's your like individual strategy, or what's your solution to being trash? Because you're just gonna live in that? Are we? Is that where you're at?
I'm sorry, me?
No, that was Marco.
Oh, that's Marco. Me?
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you said date is trash, huh?
Got it.
I actually said date is trash.
She said,
yeah, but you said the state of dating is kind of changing because of online.
Like going. Right.
Okay, so what's your solution? Just you gonna keep at it?
To be honest, I really don't have a solution. I couldn't tell you.
I appreciate the honesty.
But I'll do is keep swiping, man. That's
because if you presented a solution, I was gonna hold you accountable to it.
Right. I'm not gonna do
that. All right, Claire, solution.
I think probably when I get on the apps, you just have to you literally have to narrow it down. Like even if it's like you give these certain amount of people a month, you have to cut off the time, because otherwise it's just gonna drag and it's just too much. Like I said, like just like how everybody knows that if you're on there, it's overwhelming. It's too many people. You have to cut the people down and give them a time frame. If nothing comes out of anything, if nothing pans out in that time frame, y'all let it go and just move it. That's what I think.
Yeah, everybody's strategy for dating and finding a mate is to keep at the online dating. Claire and Dimples are saying have a strategy going in, know what you're doing. And Marco's strategy, just keep on swiping. Something's gonna kind of fall in your lap.
I do actually have a strategy. It's like for me, it seemed like I have to because I have 2 girls, so it seemed like I have to kind of find someone that has kids as well, because it's kind of hard for women without kids to be kind of interested in guys with kids. So
so I mean so just trying to find people who are more suitable. So it sounds like you're more or less figuring out more or less like what would be compatible for you. You're still figuring it out.
Yeah.
So, okay. My strategy, I think everybody's strategy is going to be different, but my strategy is to get off online, become the best version of yourself, become attractive to people, and then people are going to come. That's what I think is a better strategy than online. Because online, I agree with a lot of y'all points. It's too overwhelming. There are too many options. Blase, blase, blase.
So, okay, you said get off of the line and become attractive.
Get off online. Yeah.
Get off online and become attractive.
Mm-hmm.
Or work on yourself so you can be
work on yourself, because if
what's that to do online?
What you said, what does that have to do with online?
Yeah, are we saying people that are online, or I feel like there's what's happening here? So become attractive. Get off online and become attractive. So are we saying the ones that are online are the ones that are unattractive? Because that's exactly what they just said, Ricardo. That's not what you're saying.
Undesirable.
No,
I'm just playing.
What?
I'm just kidding.
Oops.
No, what I'm saying is that online, y'all brought up all the points already, that it's too many options. And if you're the sort of person who's tired of filtering those options and you don't want to go through all that, why not go offline and then become the person that people are seeking?
Wait a minute. So how is it you're not someone people are seeking because you're online? Is that what we're saying? That's what it sounds like you're saying.
No, I'm saying that. Well, yes. Well, okay. So the two, no. The two aren't.
Okay.
The two aren't it's not two they're not. They don't go against each other. You can do both, but what I'm saying is that your focus is going to kind of is divided. So if I'm focused on being online and swiping and filtering through options, that takes time. I mean, Marco, you even said earlier, it's time consuming. No, Marco said that. It's time consuming. You're swiping, you're trying to figure out who's the best option. You're doing all that. Or you can spend your time working on yourself. Not saying that people who are online aren't working on themselves. But I'm saying you can take that dynamic completely out of it. You can take that dynamic. You're not following?
No, I'm following. I know what you're saying.
You can take that time. You can take your time back. What did Maxine Waters say? You can reclaim your time that you're being online, and you can go offline, and you can become. What did they say? You attract bees with honey. You can be honey. You can work. You can become like honey in real life. Versus trying to.
But when you say you become honey in real life, so are you not honey because you see how that. You see how it's correlating here? So are you not, you become honey, meaning you're not honey. You see how that works?
No.
So online means no honey. And if you want to be honey, get off the online.
Online for me means there are too many options, I started the whole thing saying that I think that we all have too many options, but they're options we don't want. That's how I started the whole kind of dynamic. So it's if you're having 1,000 options, it means nothing if you don't want those options.
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of where I'm coming at it from.
But you feel like you can more find a suitable person just being offline and just like you said, working.
No, I find that a person, I think that it's easier. I think it'll be easier if you go offline and just be live your life.
Right.
Be natural, be the best version of yourself, and just live your life. And then it's easier than trying to like create a profile. Like when you're online, you're creating an image of yourself. This is like it's curated. You say, okay, I like this picture, this picture, this picture, this picture. You're not seeing the whole you, because we're seeing seven. We're seeing 3 to 7 pictures, your best pictures that you've carefully chosen and picked. You put it out there. Then you wrote a bio. What did you write in that bio? Was it truthful? You're creating an image of yourself, but it's not the real you for a lot of people. You can try as much as you want, but it's not the real you. But if you're the real you in real life and you're really like living and existing, and people, when you go and you walk up and you meet someone and they see you for the first time, they're seeing you. They're not seeing your best picture. They're not seeing like what you wrote about yourself or what you think about yourself. They're not seeing a bio. They are seeing you.
So I have something to say about that.
Okay.
So like I was reading, they say 30 million people, I don't know if this is worldwide or I'm assuming worldwide, are online dating right now. And they're
30%?
projecting 30 million.
Okay, 30 million. Okay.
And they're projecting 35 million by 2027, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you go out, what do you see? You see people with their head in their phone. You see people scrolling. You see people looking down. They're not paying attention. So how are we doing things the old-fashioned way when we have this new element that is taking people's attention away from looking to see who's looking at me, who's looking at me when I go out? You know what I mean? Their head is in their phone. You get on the elevator, people's head is in their phone. You go to a restaurant, their head is in their phone. You go to a club or to a lounge, people are looking down in their phone. So this is why, I feel like I want to do things the old-fashioned way. I feel like that is what's best. Catch me off guard, catch me at a gas station, catch me at a grocery store, whatever the case is, that's perfect, right? But when you go out and most people are not looking at their surroundings anymore, most people are not looking because you have people who are more confident or on the internet than they are in real life, right? You have people who feel like I can reach out to her and I have to maybe worry about rejection, or vice versa, reach out to him and not worry about rejection face to face. I'll do this online. So I've met people, or I've seen people that I know on the internet that I've maybe been friends with on Instagram or, on a dating site. I've seen them in real life and they have not approached me. And they'll wait until we get home and then they'll message me on my app. Right. And it's just like, why didn't you say something to me in person? Like, this is crazy. Like, we were in the same place. You were in the same vicinity. Like,
was your
this
head
is
in your
real
phone?
life.
Was your head in your phone?
No.
Okay.
Oftentimes I've seen them too.
Right.
So, but it was just the simple fact, like, why did you wait to say something? You know what I mean? So I feel like, that sounds great, and it's ideal to want somebody to meet someone in person, but it's not realistic because we're in a technology era where people are, on social media, they're in their phones, they're not looking at real life anymore. It's not the way it was for a lot of people. So that's my only issue with that.
I agree with what you're saying. Generally, I think from a male and female perspective, it's a little different, because I think as a woman, a lot of times, depending on the woman, you're more or less, I think your assignment is to be available, whereas the men's assignment is to approach. So like you talked about, like people are just more or less like in their phones when they're out. Like that's a problem for a woman who wants a man to come to her if he's in the phone. But if you're a man who's intentional and your work, like part of like to me, that's like the working on myself part. Like if I go out and if I'm on my phone, like I need to change that. That's what I'm trying to work on, like being a person who's more aggressive in real life. Who I don't, that hasn't been a problem for me. And for context, I've been single maybe 6 months. So I haven't been like super out there trying this stuff out. But with my ex, like I met my ex in real life. It wasn't online. My ex before that, I met her online. But just like, I don't like, It depends on it. I think it depends on the people. I do agree that as society as a large, like we don't know how to interact. And I guess if you're trying to if you're a woman and you're trying to go offline and go online, it could be a problem because people aren't like engaged as much as they used to because there is the availability of online. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that strategy, if my strategy of going offline might be beneficial for a woman, but I know that I think as a woman, as a man, from what I see is that as a woman, you have to be available. Like are you getting out? Are you being seen? Like when you are out, are you like the best? You know what I mean? You catch what I'm saying? You started grinning. Is that like, am I saying something off?
I mean, definitely. And you're
Right.
not saying anything off, but you're saying something that's, of course, being mainly like a person that enjoys being in the house,
Right. So it's like,
so I'm not being seen so much. But when I do go
right.
out, it's like everyone is posting something. Just like you'll go to, a show, you'll go to, an event or whatever, people are filming it instead of watching it. So that's just kind of like the new thing that we're on. Everyone is on their phone. They're not really looking and paying attention. They rather do everything kind of online.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
That's
just my observing. Yeah.
I never gave my opinion on the state of dating, but I kind of feel like the state. I more or less agree with y'all, but I don't agree with for the same reasons. I think dating overall is kind of garbage, but I think that's like it's like a societal problem. I do think that Dimples kind of hit on it. A lot of it is like our values, society's values have changed like a lot. So people are kind of valuing different things, and that's affecting the dating market. But I also think that I think that the changes that we're seeing in society at large has affected dating. And I think that, and if I thought about this point earlier, I think that the problem is that women, and there's two sides to it. I think women are overly hypergamous. And if y'all know what that word is, I'm gonna hit y'all with a definition. And I think men are struggling to adapt to modern times.
How did women get the big word? We'll look it up. Well,
the word for modern times is modernity. Okay, mm-hmm. We know what modernity is. So modernity is another term for modern times. I think men are struggling with modernity or modern times. I think women are struggling with hypergamy, and they're too hypergamous. Y'all, anybody know what hypergamy is?
Googling it now. I don't know it.
Dimples, Claire. Have y'all ever heard that term?
We're waiting for it.
Okay. So here we go. Hypergamy. This is just like a general web definition. I didn't do like some.
I feel like it was a SAT word,
Right.
So long ago.
All right, here we go. Hypergamy is a term used in social science for the act or practice of a person marrying a spouse of higher social status than themselves. The men that are generally considered the most marriageable by women are the men who have the ability to elevate a woman beyond her current social status. So I feel like in today's time, women are too hypergamous. Too hypergamous. I think that at one time, like when society was like, when women needed men more so than they need men now, I feel like hypergamy was a good thing because as a woman, you kind of needed a man for survival. But now women don't necessarily need men except for reproduction, more or less. Okay, Claire, you're
well, back up.
Okay.
Let's rewind.
Right.
Okay. Go ahead. What were you saying? You said it was better when the women needed the men, is that what you said?
I didn't say it was better. I said hypergamy was justified. So hypergamy, like marrying up, was justified because in times past, I'm talking about like the United States prior to the 50s, maybe.
Okay.
I'm talking about world history, like when packs of roving men would go around and kind of pillage society, take whatever they want. The world was less civilized. I feel like women benefited from having a man who can like provide certain things to them, right? So, and then like, even let's take it back to the United States. Like prior at a certain point, like women weren't really in the workforce like that. And society at large has been changing because like we have like the industrial revolution, we have the technology revolution, whereas a lot of labor and like being a productive member of society was based on like brute force and physical manual labor, tasks that men typically excel at. Whereas a woman, she didn't excel at those tasks. So it would benefit a woman to get with a man who was like, you know what I mean, who was productive. So being hypergamous for a woman was good back then. But now society has changed, whereas that now, like with technology, there's not like when we talk, at least in the United States, I can't speak about worldwide, most, what do we call it, civilized countries, like a lot of the jobs are like, it's like technology based. It's like you can, you know, a lot of jobs are like web based. A lot of it's just like really changing. Like you don't have to be like, you don't have to be strong. We're not out there like the most in demand jobs aren't building railroads, not carpentry. They're not any, those jobs still exist, but there are other jobs that women can kind of do now and that they don't need a man for like resources and provision. Additionally, women don't really need men for protection anymore because there's like the police, women have police. If something goes wrong, she doesn't have to go to her husband. She can just say, you know, like call 911 and, you know, like protection is there within 5 minutes. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So it's like it benefited women back in the day to be hypergamous. But now what we're seeing is that society has changed. Women, and maybe that can be a question in and of itself, like do women need men? But society has changed and women don't really need men, but women are still hypergamous. Women are still looking for men who can pull them out of their social class, or men who are maybe not pull them out of social class, but men who are a level or a step above themselves. And I think that at a time when society has shifted and women are like have equal rights, women are now, there's still like a disparity in pay, but women are now like catching up in terms of pay. Women have protection from like police, or, you know, they have like, you know, they have like society has stepped up. And like now, like women can kind of like, women don't need men the same way, but women are still hypergamous. So I think I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I think that's a problem. I think that's creating the problem in dating we're seeing today, is that it's no longer okay for a man to be average because women are now average in terms of like compensation, pay.
So
Women don't need men for protection because they have the police. So it's like the value of an average man is like the average man was here, women have came up here, but women are hypergamous. So the men who were once suitable 100 years ago are on their level, and women are being hypergamous. They're saying, I don't want a man on my level. We hear this term all the time. What do I need a man for? Like, what do I need you for? Like, wow. I don't even need you. That happens all the time. So now what we're seeing is that women are no longer being okay with like the average guy, like that, because women are average now. So they're saying they need an above average guy. Go ahead, Claire. You were trying to get in there a few
no, I was trying to say, so you're saying the problem now is that women, because women are making them money now, it's a problem that they want men to make more than them. Is that what you're basically trying to say? Like they're reaching, like they want a man to be here, and that's a problem now?
Where are they at?
What?
Hold on, you said they want men to be here. Where are they at though? Where are they?
You were saying it's better back in the day if it didn't matter where they were because the guy was here.
Where was the woman back in the day?
Okay, back in the day. You're saying it was better back in the day when basically women.
No, I'm saying that hypergamy was justified back in the day, but hypergamy is not there. I can understand some level of hypergamy, but I don't think that it's as justified today as it used to be back then.
Because women are making money.
Yes, because women don't. Yes,
they don't need.
So because they make money, it's not okay for them to want someone.
Want someone what? Finish the statement.
Want someone that makes more than them, like they want to reach up a little higher. So that's not. You shouldn't do that because now you make money.
Yes, you should be a little more flexible because it's back. Yeah, you should be flexible because back in the day it was significantly easier for a man to be like for a man to make more than a woman. That's not to say he's better than her or anything. That's just the way society was. So hypergamy was justified then. But today, when it's easier for a woman to be at the same level as a man, it's not as justified for a woman to be hypergamous to try to get that upper tier man. And I tell you, and we did a podcast, and I broke down like this hypergamy thing a little bit, and what the data suggests. And I'm a data guy. I like data because it's like you can't really dispute data. But women, when they looked at online dating, this is just a metric for online dating. Women only swipe right on what they view as the top 10% of men. Men swipe right on 50% of women. So it shows that women are more selective, they're more picky, they're more hypergamous than they ought to be. And that's creating, and I think that's just half of the problem with dating today, that women are too hypergamous.
And it has nothing to do with the guys, right?
But I have something to say about that.
No, with guys, the guys are having a hard time adjusting to modern times. And I'll kind of talk about that in a second. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dimple.
Like, I feel like when you say women are selective, and we've always been selective, right? That's always been, for the most part, women have always been known to be selective. And that's been, one of the things that men actually liked about women. It's just like, she chose me because I know that she's selective with who she chooses to sleep with and who she chooses to date. He feels like that's an honor. So why is that now something that's looked down on? Like,
I don't look down on it.
Or seen as something negative, or seen something that needs to change.
Right. I think it needs to change because not enough men have access to women. The average guy doesn't have access to women because a woman's hypergamous. So she's not looking, when I talked about the Tinder data, 90% of guys she's swiping left on, those are good, decent guys. There's nothing wrong with them.
We don't know that. We don't, but here's the thing. You said 10%, you said women swipe, I forget what your numbers were, but you said there was a certain percentage.
Right. Women swipe right on 10% and men swipe right 50% of the time.
10% of what she views as something of quality or whatever the case is. So that's still up to a certain woman. So that's not saying that, it's still selective. Like, what I view as, the top 10% of like great qualities or whatever the case is, maybe something completely different than what Claire does. Right. And then what the next woman does.
Right.
So, it's just kind of like I don't know, it's kind of like an unfair statement in a way, because, we may be selective, but a picture can only tell you so much, right? So, okay, you can take a picture with the chain or in a car or whatever the case is. Like, what are we really basing this off of?
I hear what you're saying, that it's unfair, but do you agree that women are hypergamous?
I think that yeah, I think that's true. I think that
more selective than men.
I think that's true. I think, well, to a degree, I think that that's changing for sure. But we've always been taught to be selective. Be careful with who you choose, because there can be some men to use you for certain things. There could be some that'll waste your time, whatever the case is. So we're kind of taught to be selective, versus like kind of maybe what men are taught to do, which is kind of sow their royal oats. It's just different. You know what I mean? Of what we're kind of what's kind of ingrained in us. Yeah. And it just depends on what you grew up with too.
Right.
So okay. So my thing is, so it's not, you're saying it's a bad thing for women to be, what is it?
Hypergamous.
Hypergamous? Mm-hmm. You feel like that's a bad thing?
I'll answer in a second. Dimples, do you feel like I'm saying that?
I what I'm hearing you say is that women are hypergamous. Women have always been hypergamous, but because things have changed, because things are more modernized, women need to stop being hypergamous. That's what I'm hearing.
Marco, what do you hear me saying? I'm
well, from what I'm hearing is like, basically you're saying that we're all on the same level now. So basically, like the woman is looking for more like status. So she's gonna go above pretty much the average person, I
Right.
guess. Yeah.
Right. So you kind of hear more or less what I'm saying, but we're not all on the same level. Here's the problem. The average guy, because of hypergamy, the average guy, women don't want. They want, according to the data, they want the top 10% of men. I don't to answer Dimple's question, I don't think that women should stop being hypergamous. Well, yes, I do. I think that women shouldn't be as hypergamous. They shouldn't be as hypergamous. I think if you're an average woman, the average man should be okay. You shouldn't look for a man who's in the top 10% if you're average.
So my question is, for every woman that's hypergamous, how many of those men are reaching higher than they should as well? You're saying we're reaching for like you have to make this certain amount of money. How many guys are looking for tens and they know they shouldn't be?
There's a lot. I think there's a lot.
So it sounds like we're both doing the same thing.
Right. I think it's happening, but the data suggests that women
of course.
Women are more likely.
The data. Let's go back to the data.
I'm a data guy because the data, you can't argue against the data. Men, and here's the thing. Women and men select, this is according to social science, women and men select on we use different measures to select. Men look at attractiveness, fertility, youth, whereas women look at resources, security, protection. Go ahead.
I'm so confused about how whatever y'all think, we just look like, oh, he looks like he could be protected. You think we're not looking at you? We're not talking to you if you don't necessarily look like something we want to, we find is attractive. I don't know what makes y'all think that y'all literally say stuff like, you don't get it, but we're like visual creatures. And what are we, blind?
No,
I'm trying to figure out what does this mean? It's crazy.
Right. Well, I'm Stevie Wonder now. Yeah, I don't dispute that either. I think that women, this is part of the hypergamy thing too. Like women, I think that women need to adjust their standards in terms of looks a lot of times too. Like you hear. Go ahead, Claire.
No, I'm okay with adjusting. I'm okay with women adjusting as long as the guys understand they have to adjust as well. Yeah, we need to both adjust. Like no one needs to adjust more than the other. As long as we all are on the same page with all of us needing to adjust.
Right. Yeah. Here we go. I think we all need to adjust, but I think in terms of hypergamy or wanting what you don't I won't say deserve. Wanting what's above your level. I took that back. Wanting what's above. I think that in terms of like somebody wanting somebody who's not on their level, that problem, the data suggests that problem exists more in terms of beauty. I do agree that a lot of men are overshooting they're like, what are you talking about, guy? I went to this, I was at this meetup and we went out to eat and we were at, where's this place? We were at this bar. And I was with this guy. He was 40 years old, mid 40s. He's wearing like real baggy clothes. He had this hat on covering. You can't see what's going on with his head. Overweight, out of shape. I'm overweight. I need to work on it. But anyway, he's talking about what he wants. And he's talking about his preferences. And we have like 20-something-year-old waitresses. And he talking about like, I want that. I'm looking at like this guy, like, are you serious? Like, are you serious, guy? Like, yeah, so men, this is what we both have this issue. But when we talk about hypergamy, I think that men's issue isn't hypergamy, I don't think. Yeah, women's issue is hypergamy.
What is hypergamy again? Tell me what hypergamy is again.
Hypergamy is a term used in social science for the act or practice of a person marrying a spouse of higher social status than themselves. The men that are generally considered the most marriageable by women are the men who have the ability to elevate a woman beyond her current social status.
So that's basically what the guys are doing too.
Yes, but not at the degree that women are doing it. Like I said, the data suggests men are swiping right on 50% of women. Women are swiping right on 10% of men. That's so just like, it's just there in like, in both.
The data is nice. And I think that's good to have the information, but with your everyday, and I think Dimple's day-to-day too, what we see it's hypergamy on both sides. So the data might say this is this, but what you see, like what you see, what she sees, what Marco sees, it might be completely different. We see it equally, I think. Dimples, would you agree with that?
I agree. I think that the raise in social status for men, it's just for men and women are different. For women, it may be security, and for men, it may be if I have this dime 10 on my arm or whatever the case is, this is going to raise me up in certain places. And they look at having a beautiful woman with this figure who's that chick or whatever the case is, as that's a boost in his image. You know what I mean? Like that's a part of his image to make it to where he's that guy on a as a high status guy. You know what I mean? So I think it's just different, and we value different things. So we're both looking to up our status on what we value, and a man's is going to be different than what a woman's is going to be.
Right.
So we're both kind of doing the same thing.
What do you think? What do you think, Marco? You think
I
can see you deep inside
about what you were saying about the guy that you went out with the meetup to with with the waitress. I kind of feel like women do that a lot. Like I be feeling like
they do, but the data doesn't really matter. We're so
I'm like, you really think I'm gonna
right? And you know what? Perfect example. Perfect example. Thank you, Dimples. Not too long ago, did you saw the picture of the person who was trying to shoot their shot at me, right? This is men now. It's like, come on now, come on. Like,
and that's the thing. Like when you were kind of going into it, I was expecting something way different than what I saw. So at the end of the day, when it comes to looks, when it comes to
way
I didn't think she was that unattractive to be offended by. Like, okay. Can you believe? I thought that was a reach a little bit.
So I'm unrealistic. So you feel
I'm
like
not saying that you are, but just like I said, like people's opinions on things and perspective is just a little different. Right. So what I see as something that's just like a slap in the face is going to be completely different than what you see as a slap in the face. And that and that goes to what someone deems as attractive. You know what I mean? And what your scale is it's exclusive to you and you only. You know what I mean? Like.
So you feel like you and this person that I showed you was on the same level of attractiveness?
I'm not gonna say that we were on the same level, but I'm not gonna say that.
Okay, so what?
I'm not gonna say we were on the same level, but I'm not gonna say either that she was like. Well, I was expecting something completely different. I'll say that I was expecting something like that was completely just.
Plead the fifth. This is a trap. Abort.
Oh yeah.
It's not a trap, but it's because I feel, I don't feel, I can't speak to her intentions, but I don't feel like she's being honest with that. Or I think she just, I don't know if she's trying to protect like her fellow sister.
What did I tell you?
But you said I shouldn't have been, I don't say I was offended, but I think that the delusion of a lot of women is like, the hypergamous delusion is out of hand. Because it's like
but it's the same on both sides.
It's not, because men know their lane more than women. Now, if a man,
my God.
Let me say this. Just because a man shoots his shot doesn't mean, because women don't shoot shots, men shoot shots. A man's going to shoot a shot. Men are going to shoot their shot, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they think that they have a shot. They're just going to shoot it. Women don't shoot a shot, more or less. In some instances, they do. But I'm saying that women, if they were to shoot when women, okay, go ahead, Claire.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Guys shoot their shots. Women think how is that not the same? It's the exact same thing.
We're now in a time where women are being told to shoot their shot. So it's gonna change a little bit more, right? Where the whole shoot your shot, it was said to both men and women, right? Shoot your shot. You never know, whatever the case is. And being that men are not approaching women anymore, men, just like we talked about earlier, because, a lot of times for a woman, if I'm looking to be approached and most guys are in their phone or looking at a game or whatever, then, you know, I have to make myself seen, so to speak, right? So you have a lot more women that are shooting their shot now than they were back then.
Mhm.
So it's the same. I have plenty of, and I think I said that to you. You know, you're like, would you be offended? And I'm just like, people are gonna try. There's nothing wrong with a try, right? And
Yes,
people are
absolutely.
gonna try. And I had to understand that as time went by. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Like you know, I could be her type or I could be his type. You know what I mean? You never know until you try. So there have been plenty of guys in my DMs, plenty of guys on the app. And it's just like, I mean, it would never, you know, honestly, I would never, but I would never say that to them. I just don't swipe. You know, it just is what it is. It's not something that I get offended by, but I think both women and men are doing that. I think that you were taken off guard because it's a new thing, you know what I mean? But had it always been happening for you, like it has been for us, you wouldn't be so surprised by it.
I'm not okay. The thing that I was taken off guard, but I wasn't taken off guard that the fact that a woman was shooting her shot. I was taken off guard that a woman who was clearly practicing hypergamy to the nth degree was like, I was surprised at the hypergamous nature. Like, come on, come on.
That's
Like,
what
come
I'm
on.
talking
You
about.
because
Though.
as a woman, women need to understand. And this is what we talked about. And I'm not being a chauvinist, Claire.
I can't tell.
You kind
Hit
of
dog on the holler. I didn't say a thing. Hit
okay.
dog
So
holler.
I talked about, according to social sciences, and I found what I wrote down here, or not what I wrote down, but what I researched, that men prefer youth, fertility, attractiveness. Women prefer money, education, ambition, and attraction. But as a woman, I feel like you should know that men value attractiveness. And okay, maybe this is a broader. Let me get off of this because I don't want to appear cocky or arrogant. Is this what without
It's too
showing the
late for that.
person?
So you might as well go ahead.
Yeah, no, without
Okay,
putting
so-
the person up, it's kind of like it's fruitless. Okay.
So basically what you're saying is you didn't feel like this woman was attractive. You can't believe she even tried to talk to you.
I can believe it because it happened, but I can't. But I think that
How dare you? That's
I don't think that women understand how. I don't think women understand the value that men place on attractiveness.
Okay.
But that's attractiveness is subjective.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's subjective.
Perfect. Perfect segue. We're still talking about the state of dating. This is maybe a little off topic, but it's within range of dating. Do y'all believe in what they call, this is in the pickup art? I've done research, y'all. In the pickup artist community, they refer to it as a sexual marketplace value, or like a rating. Do y'all believe that exists?
Do I believe that men and women rate each other?
Yes.
I do believe men and women rate each other.
Okay, now what do we okay.
What's y'all rating?
But I don't think it's as in terms of necessarily numbers. I don't think anyone, oh, they're 5, they're 6. Like, I don't think it's that, you know, well, speaking for me, I've never heard a woman say,
okay, for
women, oh, he's a 5 or he's a 6, unless she's personally asked. I don't think that women, or I have not, I'll speak for myself, have not gone through a number list in my head, a ranking, and said, this is what this person is. It's just, do I deem them attractive or do I not? You know, and attractiveness isn't necessarily always looks. It could be demeanor. It could be how a person carries themselves, or an edge, or a swag, or whatever the case is that adds to their attractiveness. But I don't necessarily
y'all have a different rating system, or y'all have a different thing for sexual marketplace value than men do. But men, there's definitely a rating scale. It's been since I was a child. There's been a rating scale, at least that men use for women. because when I talked about men's dating preferences, attractiveness, youth, fertility, okay, women, y'all's is a little bit more broad: money, education, ambition, attraction. Those are the top
It's interesting
things.
how, I mean, you're getting the data,
Right,
and I understand that,
right.
but that's not the reality for all women, because I can speak for me, and I'm pretty sure I can speak for Dimples too. Attractiveness is up on there too. You can be smart, but if you don't look like anything, what are we talking about?
Right, I agree. It's up there.
So the
It's
fact
up
that
there.
they're
I
putting
just,
like attractiveness for women so far back, I'm trying to figure out how.
oh right, I got you. I think y'all, on some level, I think y'all might be an exception to the rule, but I think that as Black people,
Oh, boy.
I think that women in the Black community. Okay, no, let me.
Oh no.
We women, hold on. In
No,
other
Black women, go ahead.
okay, Black women.
Marco, you're gonna have to help him out. Go ahead.
Black women value looks more than women in other communities value looks. So you just talked about how for you and Dimples that, you said, why do they have attractiveness way at the back? Well, that would hold true for Black women, that y'all place a little bit more higher emphasis on looks. I couldn't find any data that proves that, but I actually sent Dimples a message. And I said, is this true? And I sent her a list of like things that women value. And the list was for Black women, but I sent it to her and I took out the Black women part. And I said, is this true? She disagreed with the list. She said for her, character, which was at the bottom of the list, was highest for her. But when I sent the list to a lot of people, social media, and just I wanted to kind of feel what the opinion was, a lot of Black women. And for most parts, that list hold true, that looks was at a higher premium for women. And I don't.
Did you ask other women too? White women, Spanish women?
No.
Okay.
No, there's data that suggests that in other communities that those other women, I can't break it down by ethnicity, but those other women, it's just like this, the preferences goes money, education, ambition, attraction. Those were the top. Now that was the list that I sent you wasn't the same as that list there, but in terms of what women in other communities value more, that's a thing. But since Marco, do you believe in a I know you, man, we didn't use the rating system before, so I know you believe. Do you believe that women have a rating system for men?
Actually,
not like a numeric. It may not be a numeric thing, but just like a value that they kind of like look at.
I mean, I think so, but I think I don't think they, like you said, I don't think they have like a numeric number or anything.
Right.
It's just more of like you said, like she said, it's like, are you attractive type of thing. I don't think they have a number.
What about
what you said?
What about this? What if their SMV is 6 feet or taller, 6 figures, he earns 6 figures, and he has a 6-pack, or he's packing at least 6 or so inches. Do you feel like women may use that as their SMV, whereas we have like a numeric scale?
You threw me off, man. Yeah, I mean, I think, stuff like that, I think they value more,
right,
like height and all that type of stuff, like finances and I guess like the security and all that, financial security, all that type of stuff, more than anything.
So we both, you agree, we both rate each other.
We do. It's just
we just
different.
do it on different things. Men, we don't factor in money, education, ambition. We're looking solely at attractiveness. We're just going off of attractiveness
and fertility and
fertility. But the fertility, I guess that does fall into the rating system for men. For me, it does. I do a lot of my rating. I have like a rating, and then I add stuff and mounting stuff based on like.
Do you do this on paper?
No, it's just every guy kind of knows. It's like ingrained in us somehow. Because if you ask men, hey, rate this person, we're going to come within a point or two of each other across the board. It is what it is.
What do you guys start off with, like the rating? Like, let's just
rank your.
Yeah. Like, how do you like, rate?
That's a good question. You talking about like where do I rank myself?
Not yourself. Like
Right.
when you rate women, like what do you start with? The attractiveness or what?
Well, our rating is based off is almost solely we start on attractiveness and then we deduct and add points based off of other factors. It may
Right.
be if go ahead.
Okay. No, what are some of the other factors? I just want to hear it all. I'm trying to
Right.
let's just see.
For me for the rating system, I have like the rating system based off of her looks, and then I most likely I subtract and add. I don't say add points. I rarely add points. Yeah, but I subtract points based off of like how like her kids, like how many kids she has.
Mhm. Okay.
So that's how I do it. But I don't think I add in other factors into it for my personal thing. I don't think I might. You know what I do. For me personally, like I'm a little bit more of a conservative guy. I take away points off of a woman's body count or my perceived thought on what her body count is or what she's revealed. So I take away points based off of her body count. I take away points based off of her number of children she has. For me,
What about you, Marco? What do you take points off for?
She gives me attitude. That's a deduction. No,
you take away. Okay.
no, I'm just messing around. But more the personality, I think. Like you go off an appearance, but I think the personality will kind of either boost you up or deduct you, in my experiences. So
Personality. You say that last part again. I'm sorry.
yeah, personality. That's
Okay.
pretty much that kind of
So
deduction.
she has trash personality. You start deducting points.
Because she might not look like the 10, but if her personality is good, she might be that 10.
And I feel like that's what a lot of women do as well. Like, okay, he could be, let's go based off of your numbers, 6, would you say 6 feet, packing more than 6 inches with 6-figure income, whatever. And then you go out on a date. We go out on a date with these guys and they're jerks. They don't listen. They have wandering eyes. They're condescending when they speak to you. They don't engage in conversation. Then if you're talking about point system, then it starts to his value in our opinion as far as would I date him or not starts to go down. And it's just like, this is not really worth it for me to date a person like this, because he may look like whatever on the outside, but all that glitters is not gold, right? We know that. We know that it can look like a diamond and be glass, right? So why am I basing it off of just the stuff that he has? A lot of women, and this is why a lot of women have like making, their own money, or they've become more independent, right? Because they come from families where their mothers and their grandmothers were taken care of, right? So they had the house, they had the family, they had a man who had all those things. And their moms and their grandmothers are saying, it's not worth it. Go get your own, because these men are treating us like trash. They're abusive, they're cheating, they're doing these different things. And they're telling their daughters, okay, now you need to go out and see the world. Now you need to go out and have your own, don't rely on a man for to take care of you or whatever. Like, so a lot of this is cause and effect, and nobody's necessarily looking at the cause and wanting to fix the cause. They're only looking at the effect, and now we're pointing the finger, but okay, let's go back to it. I personally don't mind being in a situation where the man is the head of the household and he's taking care of the family and there's a level of submission, whatever. I don't mind that, but who am I submitting to? What kind of character does he have? What kind of mind does he have? How does he speak to me? How does he treat me? And a lot of people are disregarding that because of their income, because of how they look, and that's where we're going wrong, because we're looking for the facade. We're looking for the image, but what else are we bringing to the table as far as substance? That's all I have.
I agree completely. I agree. Okay. I think we almost got through this first topic, but let me ask let me see here. I'm trying to think here. I got a few different questions, but Marco, the women they don't seem to agree with hyper. Well, I don't know if they agree or don't agree. They kind of, I feel like they skated around it a little bit. But let's just say that the hypergamy thing is a problem, right?
Mhm.
Them being too hypergamous. What does the average man? Let's say the average man. Look, we talked about the women rating scale: 6 feet, 6 figures, a six pack or six packing more than 6 inches.
Mhm.
Does let's say the average guy is not 6 feet. The average guy is 5'9".
Right.
The average black man's salary isn't 6 figures. It's less than half. It's 41,000. Women today are hypergamous. I mean, ladies don't agree, but they are. Does the average guy stand a chance? Like what's like? Does he stand a chance? Like for real?
Mhm.
What do you think?
So I think they do. I think it would be kind of rare though if they did. I
Mhm.
think for the average guy, they probably would have to find somebody that's kind of below their status, I guess.
They shouldn't have to do that. Why can't they
Right.
get the woman that's like where they're at? It's messed up, right?
It is. It's kind of like
The
when
average
he
guy doesn't stand a chance, really.
right.
Wow. You're
No, I'm
it's
serious.
crazy. No, it's
Look, and
crazy to me how you're talking about what he deserves. And then when it's us,
hold
it's
on.
like you kind of have to take down a little bit. Be realistic. You just said about the girl who tried to tell you she needs to be realistic.
Right.
Marco says it's about the guy who says, like, isn't it crazy he can't get what he wants?
Right.
Like, it's crazy.
Hold on.
Like, what?
No, it's not crazy that he can't get what he wants. He can't get what he should get on that's on his level.
What should he get? Like,
he should get somebody who, in terms of if he values attractiveness, he should be able to get someone who's where he wants that. Look,
why?
men aren't contrary to what you said earlier, Claire. Men aren't just trying to get tens and dimes. I want a woman who's a 6 through an 8, and I don't want a 9 or 10. I don't want those problems. But I want other things as well. This is me.
But I understand it. But
And I think most men are kind of there. When I'm telling you, most men like, yeah, I don't want a 10. I don't want a 9, man. I don't want those problems. They may want to have sex with the 9 or 10. They may want to just have fun with the 9 or 10, but we're talking about marriage. We're talking about long term.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So this is where the problem comes in.
Mhm.
You're saying I want a 6 between 6 and an 8.
Mhm.
Now, what if a girl comes to you and says, yeah, 6 and an 8, maybe you're kind of shooting for the stars. Maybe right at a 5. You see how you would take offense to that? So
right. No. I wouldn't take offense to that. I want to know that. I want to know. This is why I look for objectivity when that I asked Dimples, I said, what's up with this? Because maybe I'm overestimating myself. And I look for objective feedback. I really want to know, am I underestimating myself? And if a 5 is where I'm at, and if I don't want a 5, I have to accept that. But here's the thing, I'm not okay with that. So if I go out there and the only thing I can get is 5s and I don't want a 5, I'm not going to stand in that, and I'm not going to say I deserve a 5. I'm going to work and I'm going to build myself up to be able to get to the point where I can get what I want. Go ahead.
What? Like, it's okay. I'm gonna work if you're a 5. But that's the thing. You're a 5 to somebody, but you might be a 10 to someone else. But you're shooting for the 10, and to her, you're 5. But you might be a 10 to somebody.
No.
You're that's
we're talking.
Marco, can I get a little backup, please? Marco.
What I'm saying is for one, let's okay. Like I said, for Black women, I agree. It's subjective, and I agree that in general, like, women do place a value on looks. I'm okay with that. If I'm a 5 as a guy, and if women in large are telling me, hey, you're a 5 as a guy, I value looks, and if you're probably good at a 5, I would be okay with that. But I'm going off of my lived experience, and I know the market is telling me what it is that I can qualify for, and I'm okay with that.
That's what I'm saying. You're listening to what other people tell you you're qualifying for.
Right.
And you're going to end up with something you didn't want because you didn't try to. Wait. That's not really. But I'm just saying, though, like, you're not going to try for the other ones. They told you, yeah, you can't.
No, because I don't want them. I don't want them. I just said I want a 6 or 8. I think I'm okay with a 6 or an 8. I feel like a 6 or 8 would be okay with me. I know my lane. I feel like I know my lane.
It's subjective.
It's not.
You
Like I just
oh my
said.
God, it so is.
Now I can't
It
talk
literally
about.
is now.
We just use like objective numbers, 6 feet, 6 figures. Da 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 da. I know where I'm at on that whole chart. I know with men and women, we like I said, within a point or two, the rating for men is not subjective. Maybe, like I said, for women, I agree, it's a little bit more variability.
You know what's so funny? Guys, you guys miss the mark every time. You don't get it. You go to the gym and get the muscles and the money, and you're still a jerk. Work on that first, and maybe you can get what you want without going to the gym and all these other things. But you don't want to do that. You'd rather not just clean up your character and go to the gym and work out or get a good job and still be trash. What's the point?
Well, I agree with you on that. I think that I think it's more layers to it. I do think that character is important, values are important. I agree with you there. But I think that if you're trying to increase your outcomes, just go with what the data says. Like if women value a man who's 6 feet, you can't do nothing about that. You have to try to find a woman who's shorter than you. If you're shooting for women who are at your height or higher, women value men who are taller than them. So you have to kind of stay within your lane there.
Have you seen
women like a certain sort of woman who's a certain social class wants a man who makes a certain sort of income. If you're not there and if you're trying to get women who are at this certain level, but the women at that level want a man who making that XYZ, you have to go do it. Now, after you do all of that and you're there, and then you still go to these women, and then they're still saying, no, you're not it. Your character's messed up, and you got to work on your character. You have to look at what the world is telling you.
Which one is going to be the hardest thing to change? Your body or your character?
Your character.
So what are we talking about? That needs to be numero uno. But you're going to the gym and you're gonna come back and you're just gonna be a buff guy that nobody wants.
But you're assuming that most people have bad character. What if everybody's character is okay where it's at? But
yeah.
the issue
not,
is
but I'm gonna go ahead and I'll listen though.
But the assumption of your argument is that the issue is character. I mean,
your assumption is if I go to the gym and if I do this, I'm gonna get whatever I want. That's a lot of being sold.
That's not my assumption.
I'm sorry. So okay, if you were, let me see, give me somebody that cut like, oh my goodness. What do you think that guy thinks he should get? He goes to the gym 7 days a week. What number do you think he should get when it comes to women?
I don't know. I need to know more. I need to know what his income is. I need to know what I need to know everything. I just can't go
when we're first meeting somebody, you don't know what their income is just by looking at them. You know, a lot of people now we know are stunting, right? So we don't know, he could have a chain on and we don't know if that's real. He could have a car. We don't know if that's rented. So most of the time you're not looking at someone when you first meet them and saying, oh, this is a high earning person or this, that, and the third. You don't know that based off of looking.
There's other status symbols you can use, but go ahead. I'm sorry. You can look at the kind of car he drives. You can look at the kind of clothes
which can be
wears.
rented or leased.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel like, there's a level of entitlement for everybody, for men and women, right? And we're basing this off of just society. Honestly, it's you have everything at your fingertips. There's this instant gratification. You can have whatever you dream up, right? So there's a level of entitlement that you can have whatever guy you want. You can have whatever woman you want. And when you don't get those things, then something is broken in the system. Something is broken. Can you guys still hear me? Something is broken or in that person, or that person needs to change this, that, and the third. And I don't necessarily agree with you need to go out and adjust and change all these things because the world is telling you to change them. I don't agree with that statement. I know what you mean when you say it though, but it's almost like you go out and you make all these changes, but what if the standard then changes, which that happens all the time, right? The bar moves. and it moves and it continues to move over and over again. So now, like, you're always jumping through hoops, you know what I mean? So, you know, but I do understand what you're saying when you say that. I feel like when it comes to men dating women or being a certain person, I feel like oftentimes, based off of what I'm, you know, seeing on social media or whatever, or in these podcasts, that men associate their value with their status, with their money, with what they have, right? And they always, a lot of times they say that their value, they have to build it, they have to earn it, and women are born with it, right? But I don't feel like confidence, what women value is confidence, leadership, whatever, whatever. And oftentimes men feel like they have to have the money in order to have the confidence or be a leader. But if you just had the confidence and were a leader, then we would want you no matter what status that you had. So oftentimes, like, the thing that you're looking for, you feel like you can only have it when you acquire certain things. But if you worked at having it before you had those things, then you would probably already attract a certain woman. You know, so I feel like, you know, I feel like we all want the same thing, but our angle at getting to it is different, or we have so many misunderstandings, which is this is why these podcasts are really good, right? So we can start to rectify those misunderstandings and clear the air. But women, like, that whole $100,000, whatever the case is, that was a number that was placed on us, and that's not always the case. You know, a lot of women are okay with a hardworking man.
Hold on, a lot of them, would you say majority or minority?
Well, I can't speak for anybody. I would say a lot of
You
women
can't
that
say a
I
lot.
know,
You can't
a
really say a
majority
lot.
of the women that I know,
You have
right?
to- okay.
A majority of the women that I know want a man that's hardworking, right? So he could be in HVC? He could be in construction or whatever the case is, and she's okay with that. Like, we have to get rid of the misconceptions that he has to have this high status and be 100,000. Like, that's setting a bar that most people are not going to reach, right? And it's creating a level of, you know, a level of elusiveness and illusion in people's mind. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like this is real. Like, we're basing how we move off of something that's not really real. And we're trying to make it real, but it's not, you know? That's just my mind. I'm not this woman who's a cheerleader for the Dallas Cowboys. Like, you know, what are we talking about? We're talking about real life, or we talking about, you know, something that's not really what you're going to see on an everyday basis. My battery's about to die, though.
You got a charger?
I'm gonna try and find one.
Okay. So
I can still hear you though.
Okay. You said a lot there. We're about to put a button on this topic here. You said a lot there, and I think you opened up the conversation talking about society at large and how a lot of values are crippling, and I agree with that. But I think there's two sides to this story where I do think that society at large is kind of taking a nosedive, and that's contributing to a lot of the problems that we see in dating today. But then two, I feel like a lot of things you just said were anecdotal, or they're from your own experience versus like what the data suggests. Because I started to say that y'all are exceptions to the rule. Y'all are women who value character more higher than other things. That's not every woman. And I said you can't quantify it, but when we look at data, which is what I go off of, that's not, women aren't valuing character as much as y'all. Maybe y'all's group and y'all's friends are doing that, but data suggests that it's other. So there's two sides. I agree that the values are crumbling. A lot of people don't have character, and that's contributing to the problems. But I also agree that with what I said earlier, that women are too hypergamous. Men haven't adjusted to modern times.
They're delusional.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So
let's try to end this one topic here, but let me ask this final question.
Okay. Okay.
How do we fix the state of dating? I feel like we've kind of hinting at it a little bit with our answers up to this point, but how do we fix it? Marco, go ahead. I think Claire just froze.
Um, hmm. That's a tough one. I honestly do not know, to be honest with you. That's what I'm coming up with.
No solutions.
I have no solutions. What do you think? How do you fix the state of dating?
I think it's a little bit of what I hinted at. The hypergamy thing has to kind of, women have to tamper that down.
Mhm.
Men have to adjust to like modern times.
Mhm.
Well, let me see if she's trying to get back in here. We just lost. She might try to hop back in. Let me see here. Let me see. We lost Claire, but I'm gonna see if she tries to hop back in. I need to come out of full screen mode. Exit full screen. Okay. If she tries to pop back in, I'll pull her back in. But yeah, I think that we start to fix it by men need to men are going to have to adjust to modern times. I mean, women are hypergamous. That's just what it is. So you have to be the best option for them. Now I know that for Dimples and for Claire, character is important. But if you want the best results, start working on your physique, start getting in shape, start working on that 6-pack, work on your income, getting your money up. And that'll carry you a long way, and you'll have more options that way. Women, if women weren't as hypergamous, I think that would help a lot of things too. Like, yeah, I know you want a man who makes more than you, but kind of tamper that down. Like, he doesn't have to make 6 figures. If you're making 40, it's okay to be with the guy who's making 45. It's okay. Y'all are going to live a good life. Y'all are going to build a team. Y'all can be a team and be okay with that. I think that's how we start to fix it. Just adjusting our expectations. That's one of my fixes. Dimples, what do you think? How do we start to fix the how do we fix
I
that?
agree. I believe that we both have to adjust our expectations. We have to our level of entitlement has to kind of we have to kind of do away with that a little bit, because so if I go out and get all these things, I could be a 10 to somebody else and be something lower to another guy. So it's just like, the level of entitlement has to just go away. We kind of have to humble ourselves. I feel like, people are getting so caught up in social media and reality TV and music videos that your expectation of what you should have in life is way higher than reality, so we kind of have to let TV and whatever's on the internet be on the internet and be on TV. That's not real life. Let's come back to earth, as a society, so that's my solution.
Claire's back.
Claire's back. What do you think? How do we adjust? How do we start to fix the problem?
I agree with what she said too. I think we need to be realistic. Cut out the whole, stop listening to what everyone is saying, basically. All the misinformation that we're getting, 6-figure stuff. Majority of people don't even know anyone like personally that makes 6 figures. So let's just cut that out. That's not real. I'm not gonna say it's unrealistic, but for most it is. So and just like she said, you have to have a realistic view, give grace to people. It might be some people that you just need to give a shot. You might end up liking this person. You never know, Ricardo. So yeah, you have to just really be open to, like other people. You need to talk to people and you say, I would never talk to this person. Just to talk to them to see. Oh, look at his face. See, that's
is that advice for women or for men?
That's period. Period. The ones, yeah, like how we were saying, character needs to be something you guys think about too. Yeah. Attractiveness is one, like you saying, you were a 6 or 8. Maybe you should talk to a 5. You might end up marrying the 5.
That body's not gonna raise your kids.
What happened?
that body's and that face isn't gonna raise your kids. Her mind, her
That's it.
character, her heart is.
Obvious though.
Yep.
Huh?
Yep. That's the facts.
What'd
Right.
you say, Marco?
I said that 5's gonna raise them kids.
Yep. You get that 6 and that 8, you might get 1. I hope you don't want nothing past 1. I didn't work this hard for my body to mess up. That's that 8 you're talking about. That's not gonna happen.
All right, fair enough. So
What do
Marco,
you
no,
think?
still, Marco or me.
Cardo.
So I started to say a little earlier, but I think that we have to adjust. My solution is, and what my answer was to the problem of dating. I think women shouldn't be as hypergamous as they are, and I feel like men should adjust to modern times and realize that women are hypergamous, and realize that you may not find, you have to realize that a woman's going to want a man who wants certain things, and you have to adjust to that. And you have to also adjust just for the fact that women, we didn't really necessarily get into this, but like women aren't like women of old. Whereas a lot of men want women of old, whereas women of old wanted to be, well, I don't say they want it to be, but it seems like a lot of their ambitions was to be like housewives, mothers, and stuff like that. But now women, women want more, they want careers, they want, they want different things. They want to travel. It's multifaceted. They're more dynamic. Not saying that they weren't in the past, but in the past they may have settled for, hey, if I can find a man, he can make me an honest woman, and he can give me some children, I'm okay with that. Now women are saying, hey, it's just not enough for you to bring D to the table. It's just not enough for you to provide resources, but I want a partner. I want a man who's going to want to travel with me. I want a person who's going to share the load in terms of like household responsibilities. I think men, we have to adjust to that. That I look at myself and say that I've been approaching dating. And this is part of the reason why my last relationship ended, was because I think that I want something more traditional than what's out there. And I have to adjust to that. Like women aren't really that. We live in a modern world. Like America is a modern world, and I need to adjust to that. Like a woman's going to want to have a career. She's going to want to she wants to travel. She wants a man. She don't want to be pregnant, barefoot in the kitchen. She wants a partner. She wants you know what I mean? It's a little bit more give and take now. So I feel like I need to adjust to modern times. I need to adjust to the woman that's out here versus trying to create something that doesn't exist.
So you're saying you do want like the more old school, like, oh, she's a homemaker, and that's what you want.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, that is what you want.
Right. I think that's what a lot of men want.
I'm not hearing that. I'm not hearing that. I'm hearing a lot of what are you bringing to the table? That's what I'm hearing. So maybe it's a small portion of those guys.
I think a lot of men want both. I think a lot of men want that old school woman, but they also want a woman that's going to help him share the load financially.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what you're looking for? That's it. I'm sorry.
No, that's not what I'm looking for. I don't want to know what you know what, I may ask you what you're bringing to the table, but I'm not looking for income in that equation. I'm looking for you to say, I'm trying to be like, I want to be like a wife. I want to have children. I'm family oriented. Those are things that I'm listening for. I'm not looking like, what are you bringing to this household? But I feel like that's not out there. A lot of women, their main ambition, we talked about being a wife, and I think that a lot of women today don't want to be wives. They want to be married. They want to have a marriage. They want to go through, this is a whole nother topic. They want to have that marriage, but they don't want to live the life. They don't want to submit to a man. They don't want to have children. They don't want to be homemakers. They want to have careers. They want to do X, Y, Z. So I'm saying that I have to adjust to that. And I think that men need to adjust to that. Go ahead.
I think there are a lot of women that sounds really great, actually, but
are they wives though? I think a lot of women say that's great, but they don't.
What do you, what is, when you say wife, what do you think a wife is?
I hate to bring the word submission up, but I think that a lot of women, they want that, but they're not going to give you that submission with it because we live in modern times. It's like you can't, like, women aren't really looking to men for instruction. They're not looking for a man to be a leader. They're looking to be like co-leaders. They're looking to be partners. So even if they say, yeah, I want to be a wife, I want to be like a homemaker, but they want to be a partner in that too. Like if I want you to be a wife and I want you to be a homemaker, I don't want to be trying to like share my leadership responsibilities with you. I don't want to have to run certain things by you. So I'm not going to get that level of submission.
Wait.
Go ahead.
What was the last part? Running things by you. See, the thing is, when you become a homemaker, it's a balance to it. This is why women don't want to do it. When guys talk like this is where the problem comes in. Mm-hmm. We don't mind submitting, but when you say run things by you, we don't want to be the oldest daughter. We want to be the wife. So when you say run things by you, I'm pretty sure you don't want her to do anything because she'll need to run it by you. Correct.
And maybe you're getting hung up on that phrase. The thing I'm talking about overall, I mean, run things by you. The thing I'm talking about overall,
I don't know what else could it mean, Ricardo?
I'm talking about submission. Let's just look at it from a broad spectrum. I'm talking about submission. You may get a woman who says, I want to be a wife and I want to be a homemaker. Okay. And she likes that idea. The idea that she doesn't like is giving up control, being submissive. So it's like, that's why I say I want to pull back. Don't get caught up on the word or the phrase run things by you. I'm talking about control. I'm talking about power. I'm talking about power. Women don't want to give up. Women don't want to give up power.
But here's the thing. That's true in a lot of regard because we were taught to keep our power in one. And so this whole aspect of being submissive is a learned trait. No one starts off a certain way. Like the certain things they have to learn as life goes on, right? Mm-hmm. Here's the thing, just like men have to learn to be leaders and they have to learn to be, they have to learn to be a head of a household or what all entails in this or whatever the case is. So when a woman finds a man or who has a man who shows that he's worth submitting to, she doesn't have a problem submitting to him. It's honestly, it's just what comes natural. For instance, lions, right? The women are the ones that hunt, right? And they have to the man still gets I would just watch this on Netflix. So the male lion, he gets first dibs on the food, whatever the case is. When someone steps out of place, he shows his authority. Like it's what comes now. It's the natural order of things. When you as a man show like your ability to lead and you show her that she can trust you with making decisions and she could trust you with knowing what's best for her and keeping that into account, she has no problem not thinking. I don't have to worry about it. Like, this is not something I have to worry about because I know him and I know he's looking out what's best for me. But you have a lot of men who do not care. That a lot of men are selfish, and and so women have trust issues. Honestly, a lot of women have trust issues when it comes to being submissive because I don't trust you to make the right choice or decision, right? You had a lot of women who their husbands had the entire, he handled the money or whatever, and he gambled the money away. There's trust issues that happen. Like, I don't trust you to take care of this and we can all be okay. So there was a breakdown in trust. But once you have that trust and you make really good decisions, and of course you're going to make mistakes along the way. That's natural. But when you show her your capabilities, then she will naturally become submissive. She will naturally, be submissive to you.
Yeah, we're gonna have to do this conversation in 3 parts. I can tell because we're 2 hours in, and there's so much more we can dive in on that. Go ahead, Claire. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say once women find out that you're the type of man that's not going to abuse your power, we're good to go.
Okay.
Absolutely.
That's it. We don't need to know anything else. As long as we feel that you're going to respect us as equal partners. Now, you might have the last say because you are the leader of the household, which is understandable. You're going to have last say, but we're not discussing things. Yeah, that doesn't work. If it's going to be abuse of power, you're not going to get anything out of us.
Right.
But if we find out you're not trying to abuse power, we're actually in this together and we're talking collectively, we're good. We don't want it. We don't want it.
Right.
We don't want it at all.
I that makes sense what you just said. Something that doesn't, I don't say it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for me, and this is probably where I have to adjust. Is Dimples started to say, she said, you know, if I find a man I can trust and blah blah blah, then men, women don't have a problem submitting. The issue for me is that when I'm vetting women, there's only so much you know off the rip. You know what I mean? There's only so much that you know off the rip from as a man trying to vet a woman to determine if she's submissive or if she can be cooperative or not. If I have to do X, Y, Z in order for her to prove her submission, this is the rub where I'm having, where I say I need to adjust to modern times, because I feel like in times, in days gone by, women they didn't have that mindset. Whereas like, hey, look, as soon as the right man comes along, then and he does X, Y, Z, then I'm going to like kind of be submissive and do X, Y, Z. They just were. I'm not saying that you just kind of you're submissive to every man. I'm saying that there's levels to it. And what I'm saying is that what I'm hearing is, and this is a term, conditional submission. It's like it's based off of conditions. But I feel like a woman should just be a submissive person or a feminine as a feminine. This is what I feel. I feel like a woman should be like a submissive, cooperative, feminine woman, just like a man should be.
So when
just like a man should be.
Oh, here we go. Oh, you got to carry the same with me. Go ahead.
No, just like a man should be.
Wow. Go ahead.
Just like a man should be masculine, just like a man should be all the things that a man should be. I don't feel like there's an excuse for me not to be masculine, and I don't think that there's an excuse for a woman not to be feminine or be submissive. Now, I'm not just saying you just going around just like, you know, just obeying what any Tom, Dick, and Harry says.
How is that not what you're saying?
It's not. I think there's, like I said, there's levels to it.
Okay, so like you just said, it's subjective. Like you're saying, yes, we're not just going to submit to anybody. You said that's what women should do, feminine, this, that, and other. But then you just said, I don't think they should just submit to anybody. But that's what you're considering a woman should be. So I'm confused. Which one?
I'm saying that it should. Okay, I feel that her submission or level of submission should be I should be able to observe that from a distance. I should be able to look at a woman and look how she moves and say that woman would be submissive in a relationship or in a marriage.
So how could she move to where you could say to yourself, this woman is submissive?
I mean, there's different ways. I mean, it could be something simple like,
okay,
it can be the way she talks to men in her everyday life. You know, like if I'm just observing, like she's just like out and about somewhere, and I can just observe her demeanor with other men and how she carries herself. I feel like that would give me an indication on where her head's at in terms of how she would behave in a relationship, what degree of like submission she is. I can also do things like I can feel like things, and I can like, just like when I engage and conversate with her, I can see how her responses are. Like when you're a submissive person, you're more or less go with the flow. So if you're throwing something out to a woman, and she's giving you a lot of
sense.
I don't really know about that. She's not a submissive woman.
So God forbid she has a brain and she can think, then it's like, whoa.
You're getting caught up. You're getting caught up on
No,
specifics. I'm just talking about. I'm just talking in general, Claire.
What
I'm
is
talking
go with the flow? What is that? What does that look like?
I'm general. Like I said, hey, let's go. Let's do X, Y, Z. Okay.
Okay, so if she has an opinion, you're not submissive.
I'm not ruling out. I'm just saying these are different measures that someone can use to feel.
These are yours. These are yours. You just said it.
Right. These are, but this is how I can just
Marco,
tell.
I'm
just telling you, I can just, like I said, but I told you, I'm adjusting to modern times. All of this, Claire, seems foreign to you because we live in a modern world. So what I'm saying sounds,
Actually,
hold on. What I'm saying just kind of sounds like out of like what are you talking about? Like a woman can't think, a woman can in times gone by. It was a lot simpler. Women just like we live in a society where women were just more submissive, but now we live in modern times and it's not the case anymore. So
we're basically what the issue is. Back in the day, women would just do what they're told, and now they're starting to let people know they have opinions. It's just becoming too much.
I didn't say that. You're
really?
I'm talking about.
What did you hear? That's kind of what I heard.
I talked about
Marco. What are indicators for you that a woman is submissive? And they got to be separate. Then
y'all keep going. I gotta take a bathroom break. And just for people watching, I'm not a Pepsi guy, a Diet Pepsi guy. I'm a Coke Zero guy. This was just on sale at Publix, and I like a good deal. So I don't know. That doesn't really mean anything, but I'm a Coke Zero guy. But go ahead, Marco.
What are indicators that women are submissive?
To you, yes.
I don't know about the indicators though. Like I don't
what in your mind, like I know an answer you were joking earlier, you're like a cutoff for you or a point taken off if she has attitude, right? So like when you see a woman, when you're dating a woman, can you tell based off of interacting with her that one time if she's submissive or is she not? And if you can't tell, what are the indicators that she is showing you that's saying, oh, she is a submissive woman?
I mean, like stuff like keeping the house clean and stuff like that.
What when you first meet a woman though?
Oh,
because you're not gonna know that off rip.
Okay. I mean, I guess like if you make
hold on, stop, real quick. You say you're not going to know that off rip. You will. You might know that off rip if you're a guy.
If you're meeting someone coming into the store or going at a gas station or coming into a restaurant, you're not going to know if her house is clean.
Right. I think Marco talked about cleanup. Like, let's say you can know one of the measures, but we're talking about Marco started to bring up like the issue of house chores, right? And let's say Marco.
I asked him like, what are the indicators when you meet someone, when you're going out on a date, you don't know this person, right? What indicators is a woman giving you to let you know that she's submissive, right?
So you just want to know on the first encounter. Right. Okay.
Well, basically, like if she lets you pick the places and stuff like that, that might be a kind of an indicator. Like where we eating for dinner, you like the man's pretty much deciding like I want to try this place. Like let's go here. Like she's really not kind of like arguing about it. Stuff like that. Maybe an indicator. So, what you think, Claire?
Crazy. Wait, so you say, okay, this is where we're going.
Right.
Like, well, what do you think about? It's like, she's not submissive.
Right.
She said another restaurant.
I'm trying to give an example. I don't really think about that too much.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I just thought it was funny.
I'm just trying to think of something that could be an indicator to why.
I see that. I mean, so basically her not being difficult is an indicator that she's submissive.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not a good indicator.
No, I think it is. That's why I said
Yeah.
I can see what he's saying. You know, you know, I can see what he's
Claire
saying.
looks baffled.
I think it's, I personally think it's funny. I mean, I get what he's saying. Like, I mean, if you have someone that's argumentative, that's different. But just like,
Mhm.
well, what about this? You know, it's just a little
Suggestion.
I don't see that as like, oh, she can submit.
Right.
She wanted pizza. I wanted chicken. Like, it's gonna be a problem. I don't see it that way, but you know, hey,
That could just be, I mean, it could just be like a very, okay, matter of fact, ladies, what you tell us, how would we know we're first meeting somebody? What are some indicators?
Oh, you're saying, let us give you an example.
Yeah,
of
what
like,
are some, like when you're first meeting a woman, y'all ask us, how can you just like do like a gradual field test, say, hey, this is a woman who's more submissive, who's like submissive.
I think we probably have to give it time, because just like what you said,
That was a trick question
no,
that
just
was
like
asking Marco.
No, basically, because what you were saying is no one should just submit to anybody, right? Right? That's what you said.
Right. I mean, you just don't give total submission to a random stranger.
Exactly. So that's why I said it would take time, because you're not gonna get total. Why would you get total submission from a guy you just met?
Okay, what about as you're dating and getting to know a woman?
That's what I'm saying. As it goes on, I think you would see like she would let you take charge. We're not trying, we don't want to take charge, but if you don't, who will? I don't get it. Like it's we don't want to take charge. We don't. But if nobody's going to take charge, somebody has to take charge. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree.
I think it takes time. Now, if you've clearly taken charge as a man, and she's just like all over the place, it's like, no, yeah, that's probably right now. Like it happens. But I think it would take time. I don't think it's in like one date. Like, oh, she's submissive. Because you can have some women know how to play too, and she's like, oh no, whatever you want. As soon as she get the ring, I'm not doing that. Right. So what? And then you're like, I don't know who I married. It happens all the time. So
right. So you think that there's no way initially to kind of tell them that it's a time, it's a process.
Because people bring the secretary. They don't. They're not real initially, oftentimes, and then you have to factor in other things. You know that will, come into play. Like, is she nervous? Is she really herself? Is she really comfortable with you?
Yeah.
You know. And so it wasn't a trick question when I asked Marco. I honestly don't know, so I'm asking him because this is not a conversation that us as women are having. Like, what are we giving off? What kind of, what kind of signs are we giving off, or indicators that we don't want to be approached, or that we're, not submissive, or we're difficult? So we honestly don't know. So that was just a question that I was asking him. And it was a good answer.
Yeah, so Mark, you said just being a woman's just difficult, being difficult. You can kind of that will kind of indicate you that she's
yeah. I mean, you asked me for examples, so yeah, that's
right. I mean, that was good. I think it's valid. I mean, you could tell that in y'all's conversation on the app, on the online dating app. Like, right. Man, this is hard. This is difficult. Like, what in the world? Like, why am I getting a third degree and we just started our interaction? So I feel you on that. Earlier, Claire, I started to bring up the issue of what I want and my preference. And I think a lot of men's preference in terms of wanting a housewife or like a something, like that kind of more traditional. And you hypothesize that a lot of women want the same thing. And I want to challenge that notion, and I have something I want to share. And I want to know what y'all's thoughts are on it. Let me see here. Let me see if I can share my screen. We're going to do the desktop share. And let's see, where's the graphic? There we go. I can't remember what the circumstance was that prompted this. Can y'all see this?
Yeah.
It prompted this tweet by Jamel Hill. If y'all know who Jamel Hill is, she's a sports analyst and commentator, formerly on ESPN, and she's since moved on. And I think she's doing other things now, a podcast. But I can't remember what the circumstance were that kind of brought this tweet about. But she tweeted it, and I thought it was very interesting, and it kind of to me, it crystallized the problem. Not the problem. It crystallized a lot of the issues that we're seeing today. And she said, I have increasingly found that many Black men just want better access to patriarchy. They don't actually want to dismantle it. They actually don't want it dismantled. So what
Right.
now, for people who are unaware, a patriarchy, there's two different ways it can be spoke about. It can be talked about in terms of like society at large, like you live in a patriarchal society, and it also can be talked about on a familial level, whereas like a patriarchal family is a family that's kind of run by men and men are the head of the families, and that a lot of it's just like it's a male, it's a family that's like the man's the head of the family.
It's
That's what a
just a
patriarchal.
hierarchy of men, basically.
Say that one more time.
The hierarchy of men, where men are in charge.
Where men are in charge, and society at large is a society that's run chiefly by men. And Jamel Hill was surprised that Black men want to be in charge. And you and Claire, you say, well, a lot of women are okay with that. Jamel Hill's not okay. I think a lot of men want a patriarchal family. I can't speak about society as whole because we're talking, that's a whole different thing. And I don't know if I wish I knew the exact circumstance that brought this up, but a lot of women, you said that a lot of women are okay with being a housewife and kind of falling back into their submission and kind of, XYZ. I disagree. And Jamel Hill is an example of that. She says that men, she and to me, it's like Jamel Hill, you're really surprised that Black men want a patriarchy.
She didn't say she was surprised.
She said, I have increasingly found that many Black men just want better. Well, yeah, she didn't say she was surprised. You're right. They don't want to actually dismantle. So her notion was that men want a society where like it's like a more like, y'all track what I'm saying? Like men don't want to be like leaders. Men don't want. She's surprised that Black men don't want that. What are y'all thoughts on that?
Hold on. So you're saying, because what I got from the statement is she said, I increasingly have found that Black men just want better access to patriarchy. They don't actually want it dismantled.
Right.
So they want to maintain the notion that only men are in charge. They don't have women bosses. They don't have women in high places in society, as far as with jobs and making a certain amount of money. They don't want their patriarch dismantled. Mm-hmm. They want to remain the head on all aspects. And I agree with that statement, because you'll have a lot of men that say, y'all wanted this whole equal rights. Y'all, like, they're angry about it. You know what I mean? And, y'all are making all this money. Why should I pay for the date? You know what I mean? Like, it's a bitterness, that tone that comes with the status of women now, and so as I get older and as I talk to more people, I'm increasingly finding that men have a problem with the idea of patriarchy in society being dismantled. And that's, of course, going to lead to the family too. It's going to trickle down.
Okay.
But
question,
everything is cause and effect.
Okay, let me ask you this. Do you want to live in a patriarchal society?
I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I only know what I heard. I know the horror stories.
The Taliban. It's
you're second class.
Afghanistan is the closest example I can think of, like a true patriarchy in society today. Would be like a society like, now don't look at like the state of Afghanistan, the wars and all that stuff. Look more so at like the role of men in society in Afghanistan, and look at.
So what came to mind was that women have to be covered up, and any man on the street can go and just slap her up if she has her hair, out of place or something. That's what came to mind.
So
not the wars.
an example that's probably more closer to home, because I know y'all both are Christians. Look at the Bible. Look at the way society was run in the Bible. Those were patriarchal families and societies. But let me ask you, Claire. I mean, okay, so Dimples, you say you're unsure about. Hold on, let me.
Well,
Go
okay.
ahead.
So if we're gonna bring the religious part into it, then I don't have a problem with patriarchy. I have a problem with abuse of power. So
Yeah.
as long as everyone understands
Right.
their power, they know how to manage their power, I don't have a problem with patriarchy.
That's interesting. It's interesting you said that, because you first you were unsure if.
And then you brought in the
Hold on,
Christian
right.
aspect.
I brought in the Christian aspect of it. You were unsure at first if you could live in a patriarchal society
because I don't know what it looks like.
because you don't know what it looks like. And I gave you an example. But prior to this, your overall thoughts and opinions were you were unsure. You felt like there was an example of abuse of power with the patriarchy. So women.
Well, it's because you brought in Afghanistan. So I just told you what first came to mind.
Before I mentioned Afghanistan, you said you were unsure about it.
I'm unsure because I wasn't sure of what it looked like. You know, I grew up in a household, you know, we grew up in a time where patriarchy was starting to diminish a little bit. It was starting to come down. So I don't know what it looked like when my grandmother was in. I don't know how that felt, you know what I mean? Like, or way back when. But when you bring in Christianity, and I know what God put in place and how it's supposed to work according to, you know, what he wanted for us. And then we being human and imperfect people, and how, you know, we have sin and all of that, then we abused our power. So if we're doing it in the terms of what it's supposed to be, I'm okay with that. But we also need to be better. And you know, we just need to do better. So if we don't abuse our power, then cool, we could go back, you know what I mean? But what is that? You know, what are we going back to? Because history just tends to repeat itself.
I feel, this is my feelings, your statements are a little contradictory, because in terms of modern societies, I don't say modern societies today, and I'm not a expert on different civilizations throughout the world or different societies, but Afghanistan mostly resembles the way societies were ran back in the Bible times.
Such as?
What do you mean, such as?
Like you said, it was ran like.
It's a society run by men. It's a society that politically is run by men. It's a society that familially, I don't know if that's a word, I don't know how to say that word, but in terms of the family structure, is run by men. This is the way the Bible was. This is why when you hear about the people in the Bible, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, they're called patriarchs. So
I can see,
right.
I'm sorry, I can see how you can say it's similar, but I can't see how it's, if you say similar, I'm with it, but we can't say like it's the same though.
No, yeah, it's not.
There's corruption now.
Yeah, right.
Well, not only is it corruption, the way they treat their women, the way they treat their women in the Bible, that is two different things.
Right.
Like, you're not beating up women in the Bible.
Right. Well, we don't. I don't know if we can say. Who are we? Do we really know what's going on in Afghanistan? We're getting a little political, but do we know that women are oppressed over there?
What is the religion in Afghanistan?
I think it's a Muslim country, chiefly Muslim.
Okay. Are Muslims allowed to put their hands on their women if they step out of line?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. But it's a patriarchal society. But let me ask you, Dimples, like in terms of family, do you want to? You're unsure about like society, living in a patriarchal society. What about a patriarchal family?
I'm okay with that.
Okay, Claire.
Society
and family. Are you do you want to live in a patriarchal society? Do you want to live in a patriarchal family?
As long as there's no abuse of power in place, which is very rare. So I would say yes, but that would be the stipulations though. But if it's gonna be abuse of power, absolutely not. No, just spread the wealth, like spread the power out. And if you're gonna abuse the power, if the men are gonna abuse power, no thanks. Nope, don't want it.
What about family?
Family, same thing. If it's gonna be abuse of power, nope. We're gonna be right there.
Who determines what's abuse? Let's say on a family level. Like what's abusive, what's not abusive?
If you have to ask that question, you probably are abusive. But no, but you know exactly what it is when I feel like
I never
you
put my
can
hands on a
tell.
woman, never I don't have any police reports, I don't have a criminal
No,
record.
no, it's not necessarily. You know what it is. Just like how she was saying earlier about guys talking to you in a condescending, making it seem like basically you're the child and I'm the adult. Because when you have abusive power in households, that's pretty much that's how it looks. It turns into I'm dad and you're just one of the children. And I talk to you in a condescending way, just like you know exactly what it is. You know
I
when a
feel
woman isn't, well, you know in a relationship when a woman isn't submissive and she's out of line.
I feel like that statement, like as long, it's like we have all these, it just kind of baked into y'all's answer. Like it was a simple question, like, would you want to live in a patriarchal family, a patriarchal society? Yes, as long as there's no abuse of power. So y'all have a negative perception of a patriarchy, and it kind of speaks to what Jamel Hill kind of speaks about. That
isn't that the majority of people other than males? Like the majority of people that say, oh, the patriarchy isn't that bad, it's gonna be men.
Right.
Right. So you ask us, and we're saying abuse of power is the issue. Nobody, if you want to be in charge, that's fine. Like I said, some people don't want to be in charge. The majority of people, if you're making great decisions, we're good with it. But the problem is you guys have abuse of power and it's okay, it happens. Right. But as long as you guys if you can reel it in, we're good.
Right. And my position is that this is a modern phenomenon where women don't want to live in a patriarchal society and or have patriarchal families at large. And Jamil's kind of like, she wasn't surprised, but she was just kind of, she didn't think that. She wasn't under the impression that men want that. And I think men largely do want that. And it's not, and I think it doesn't come from a place, I can't speak for all men, I can only speak for myself. I don't think it comes from a place of abuse or anything like that. It's a traditional, non-traditional thing. It's a traditional, non-traditional thing.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but like, like why do you want to? You just go ahead and tell the truth. You want to be in charge. You want to run the whole thing.
Right. Is there anything wrong with that? What's wrong with that? Hold on, see.
Because
are you surprised at that?
Checks and there has to be balances. Am I lying?
Right.
Okay, so
this is what I'm telling you, Claire.
That's what the problem is. The checks and balances come in. You have to add the women in to check and balance. It's going to be all of you guys. Of course, we're going to make everything work for us. Who wouldn't want that?
Claire, what I'm telling you is that what you just said, I hear what you're saying, and it's a modern thing, and I have to adjust to that. I agree with you. I agree. Listen, your notion was, you said you don't want to be checked and balanced. I don't, but I have to adjust to that. I don't want to be checked. I don't want to be checked by my wife. I don't.
No, nobody said no. See, that's
you said check the balances.
Nice. I have a question.
Dimples, your best friend, she did not say you don't want to be checked. No, she didn't. Didn't she say there has to be? Didn't she say there has to be checks and balances?
You automatically assume I was talking about a wife checking you. You're talking about the patriarchy of men being in charge, period, like of everything. Is that what you're saying? That's what I thought we were talking about.
I'm talking about both. I'm talking about, listen, I'm the real thing I'm really talking about is the family. I don't know what way Jamil Hill meant it, but I'm just talking about men and women, what we want out of life and the type of life we want to live. Like when I think about my family life, yeah, I want a patriarchal home. I want to be in charge. I don't want to be checked. I don't want to balance. I want to be the leader. And I'm okay with. Go ahead.
So where was that learned? So you keep saying that we're in the modern times and you have to adjust to that. Mm-hmm. You grew up in modern times as well. Right. You grew up where your mom probably worked. Mm-hmm. You know, there were women in certain positions outside the household. You've probably seen a lot of single family homes. So where did you learn the concept of this traditional way of life? And you're saying this is what you molded your perspective around that you now have to change. Like, why is it such an adjustment when you didn't necessarily possibly grow up in that traditional lifestyle. If you're, say your mom works, how did that come to be? Where did you get that from?
Okay. You're not as certain that it's wrong. You're just more or less wondering where I kind of
I'm just asking. Yeah, I'm just asking.
For me, it just came from lived experience. It comes from experiences in former relationships. It comes from some of my observation of society at large. It comes from my observation of looking at history both spiritually, look at Claire. I'm just looking at everything and I'm just saying, hey, look, I live a modern life with modern, I've done this whole thing. I've done this whole thing that was non-traditional. And I want to do something that's traditional. I haven't experienced it myself, but it feels right to me.
Okay. That's what I was wondering, because when you kept saying I have to adjust to the modern way, I was just like, you grew up with and we're in the same age range. So how much changing did you have to do when we all grew up in a modern way of life?
Right. I have to adjust,
it's increasingly becoming what it is, but
what are you saying? So yeah, I'm saying that I grew up in that and I'm not okay with that. And I want to adjust out of that.
And that's what I was trying to figure out.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's not okay. You're saying you need to adjust. What are you adjusting to? You just basically saying, I want to be I've noticed that I realized I could be the king of my castle and I just want to be the king of somebody. Rule over somebody. That's all this is. No. But it's okay. And it's not a bad thing to want
I'm saying that's not against right. Power. I'm saying that I want that, but I'm saying I can't have it, so I have to adjust. I mean, y'all's responses here today are proof that I can't have it. And it's no listen, and when I say it's not, I promise you it's not a negative statement, because I have come to accept it. That we live in modern times and I'm okay with that. So the expectation that I have to the expectation, I've been modern up to this point, and then I was like, okay, I got to go back. I want to do this whole traditional thing, but I'm observing that that's not out there, so I need to adjust. That's all.
It is out there, but it's not going to necessarily be out there, exactly how it was, where your wife put her head down and she,
I don't want
just scrubbed the floors and didn't say anything. You know what I mean?
8 and all that housewives and Mrs. talking about. 5, we're good. You're good.
All right. So see, maybe I need to adjust. I'm not going to get submission out of it.
Marco said it too. Yeah.
All right, y'all. I mean, we beat the ham, the whatever you call it, whatever expression is, but
the nail.
Yeah, I think that we all have different perspectives on the state of dating, but we all agree that it's kind of bad, it's kind of negative. We disagree somewhat on solutions, although we do agree in terms of everybody needs to adjust. So yeah, but we kind of went around the world on a little bit, but I think there are a lot of common ground that we found on that conversation in terms of making adjustments. And I feel like we've done some nitpicking, but yeah. All right, so that was
good talk.
Yeah, it was a great talk.
Okay. Y'all want to move on to another topic? Y'all think we should just kind of put a pin in it?
We should probably put a pin in it.
Okay.
And we can pick back up.
Yeah. So next time we're going to talk about, man, that was long. How long have we been going? About 2.5 hours. Next time we're going to talk about the gender war, or is there a gender war, the perceived gender war. And we're going to talk about, man, there's so many good stuff we definitely have to do this again, because
this was good.
Definitely
It was.
Yeah.
And we'll do it again.
Yeah. Closing remarks. We'll go with ladies first. Dimples, closing remarks.
Closing remarks. I feel like, we as a society, both men and women, we need to relearn a lot of things. You know what I mean? We need to also adjust our values and what we're holding to be valuable now, which is, I feel like, material things. I feel like it's status. I feel like it's the wrong things. that we're pouring in the wrong things into ourselves, into our household, and it's not helping with, and I feel like it's doing a lot of harm to our families. So both men and women, we have growing to do, and that's just life in general.
Marco, closing remarks.
Well, I agree with what the Dimple said. Like, yeah, I think we just need to adjust our standards, and basically, like, yeah, basically.
How do you I know how do you think we need to adjust our standards? I know
I mean, like, I guess lower your expectations a little bit, I guess. Wait, what you what? What I say?
Oh my gosh, nothing.
No, I mean, like you said though, like look for them fives. They're gonna take care of them kids instead of them tens where you gonna have to just they ain't gonna do nothing. So
right. I got you. Claire, closing remarks.
I agree with what everyone said. I think we just need to go back to the basics. Like everybody says, oh, I want a family, I want this, I want these things, but you have to make it about that too. Like how we're sitting here, we're so focused on 5, 10, and all this kind of stuff. That wasn't the case back in the day. They were like, this is a good man, this is a good woman, this will make a good wife, this will make a good husband. And those are the relationships that last. So when you're going in and talking about all these high numbers, we'll say that you're going in and talking about these high numbers, then when you get in it and you realize, wait, this isn't what I wanted. Yeah, because you were looking on the outside, but character does matter. And we have to go back to the basics on that. Those were the relationships that last. So that's what I got.
Good. My closing remarks. Things are bad. Things are bad out here, man. I don't think that these problems that we spoke about today are going to be solved in our generation. I think we have to look several generations down the road, if that. But I think the thing that everybody should focus on is your individual outcomes, and focus on the things that you can change and who you are, and work on that first. If you aren't getting the results you want, I think you need to look in the mirror at yourself first. I don't think that blaming society is productive, although society is a problem. I think that you have to control the controllables. You have to work on what you can control. And so I think that if you're a man and you're having a problem with dating, you have to change something. You can't continue to do what you've been doing. If you're a woman and you're having a problem with dating, you have to Claire's expressions are eating me up. If you're a woman, yeah, if you're a woman and things aren't in date, the outcome of dating isn't, you're not getting the outcomes that you want, I think you have to look in the mirror. And Dimples has said earlier, well, she had hypothesized that there are things that we shouldn't change. We don't have to necessarily change ourselves, but I think we do in some respect. I don't think we don't have the luxury of waiting for society to change, because it's not going to change. So we have to change and we have to adjust. And that was my solution for men, is we have to adjust to modern times. I think that's really all I got. We didn't get a chance to hit the other topics. I'll let Claire get in there.
Please, just one thing.
Okay, go ahead.
with the way we're going right now, and the amount of like the way that everyone is so superficial, what I see down the line is like beautiful children, and nobody's happy and everybody's divorced. That's it. Parents together strictly for how they look, and just making it all about looks. And you'll have cute little kids running around and all the families are broken up because nobody was really happy. And they did what everyone was telling them to do right in the moment. Because everything that everyone's pushing now, nobody is pushing character. Everybody's pushing gym, work on yourself. Work on yourself so people equals getting in the gym and making money. Has nothing to do with character. So you're gonna have a bunch of people that look good, work out, have money, and they're all gonna have trash character. And we're gonna find divorce rates going through the roof. But you'll have money though. But the family will be broken up, of course. Family's broken up completely.
So it starts with mental, is what you
You said
said.
what now?
I say it starts with like your mental.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So how you're saying, how Ricardo, you said you have to change, yeah, but you have to know what changes to make. The change isn't going to the gym, bettering yourself is not necessarily just the gym and what making more money. What good is that if you have trash character? You're just gonna be a trash person. And you're gonna be you're gonna be in charge of raising kids. Everybody's gonna be divorced, but they're gonna have cute kids and everybody's gonna look good, but nobody's gonna want each other. That's all that's gonna happen.
Right.
You're gonna have a pretty face, no family.
I hear what you're saying, and I think you have some valid points, and I think it's a valid point, but I don't feel like working on yourself, and I don't feel like working on yourself comes at at the expense of your character. The sort of person who is looking in the mirror at themselves, to me, to change, has good character. Because a person who doesn't have good character doesn't do that. They don't want to look in the mirror. They want to look at society and say, society's the problem and not me. A person of good character say, I could be a problem. So the things that I can control, I'm going to control. And that sort of person has good character. I think the sort of person who's at a place in their life where they're not where they want to be physically, the sort of person who looks in the mirror and says, I want to change, and they start to make the changes and they become fit. There's a lot of character attributes that go into that. There's determination. There's determination. There's self-awareness. There's a lot of different positive character traits that go into that. The sort of person whose income, the sort of person, man, I'm speaking about men, the sort of man whose income is not where he wants to be. To raise his income, he has to be a better person. And for me, I'm speaking about for myself and my lived experience. As okay, I'm a fire captain. I didn't get that way by being a trash person and having trash character. I had to develop my character. I had to develop my leadership skills. There was a lot of different things I had to do that. And my income rose as a result. Raising your income, getting in shape, and your character going down, they're not mutually exclusive. You're doing the same thing a lot of times. There are exceptions to the rule.
Okay.
But exceptions don't prove the rule.
Okay.
I think you're the exception.
I could be. And it's not, I don't mean it that way, but I'm seriously trying to be a better person. And I realize that I can't make the changes in my life. My chief goal isn't to have more income and to have to be in better shape just so I can get an 8, 9, or 10. My goal is just, I'm trying to be a better person. And I started this whole conversation saying that honey attracts bees. So I'm trying to be honey. And go ahead.
No, it's just.
Well, Claire, what I'm trying to figure out, you have a Claire. What's Barco? What is wrong with my closing statements? Is my closing? Is there something wrong with this?
Let me ask you this:
How
many guys? Wait, how many guys? Okay, what do you think? The number of guys that have good character, right? Let's just say they were overweight. Okay, they have good character. They were overweight. You take those guys, you put them in the gym, give them the 6-pack, give them this, give them money. You think they're still going to be that same guy they were when they were big? That character you're talking about? Or they're a whole nother person? Because they bettered themselves.
I didn't change. I'm still the same.
Some people change. Some people.
You didn't You didn't
But we
get
can pick this up on the next
Yeah,
conversation.
Okay.
Yeah.
okay. I can't. Yeah, I don't know. I can't break it down in percentage, but you lost weight. You didn't have more confidence as a result of losing weight, Marco. Did you have more confidence?
Yes, I did.
Is that a character trait? Is confidence a character trait?
Yeah.
Is it a positive character trait?
Yes.
Okay, so losing weight can also coincide with your character too. But I think
I'm
Dimples,
also, I'm working on my, mental as well. So it's like
right, yeah. I mean,
hand in hand too. So
yeah. Yeah. it was interesting, man. But I think we're going to put a pin on that. So until next time, remember to leave a comment. Let us know what you thought of this podcast. Like, subscribe, follow me on IG. Our other panelists don't really want y'all to know about them, but I want y'all to know about me, and I want y'all to follow me. I'm not, I'm trying to do something positive here. I don't know. I feel like Claire feels like, I don't know if Dimples feels like, but I feel like it feels like I'm trying to say something negative, or I'm trying to encourage, I'm trying to continue the stuff. I really want a better society. I want more healthy relationships. And I just, part of these conversations are good because I think they're going to help us start to get there. I think is helpful. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. So until next time, peace.
Bye.
Bye.